the 2015 nuclear deal by boosting its uranium stockpile. The White House says the deal should never have allowed any uranium enrichment and that the U.S. maximum pressure campaign on Iran will continue. President Trump pulled out of the nuclear deal last year. Potentially bad news from a federal judge for a congressman accused of corruption. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Lisa, a judge ruled charges against California Republican Duncan Hunter, including misusing campaign funds and trying to hide it, will stand. The hearing was full of legal maneuvers. Prosecutors claim much of Representative Hunter's misuse of money was to not only live lavishly, but to cover up a number of affairs. Hunter's defense responded with claims of political bias against federal attorneys. They also want to change the trial's venue. The judge did not rule on allowing Hunter's wife, Margaret, as a prosecution witness. She pleaded guilty to corruption last month. The trial is set to start in September, Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. A rally to start July on Wall Street. The Dow up 117 points at the closing bell after a record opening, fueled in part by renewed optimism about trade talks with China. This is Fox News.
Building a business is tough work. Big or small, Nanbo Insurance has your business covered. Nanbo takes the guesswork out of coverage to protect your investments. Over the years, Nanbo has worked with businesses of all sizes, from large hotels to small businesses. Nanbo Insurance will be your best asset. With Nanbo, you can also save big when you bundle up and insure your car, home, motorcycle, or business. Enjoy great savings, up to 50%. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for more details.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about the food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
More pro-democracy demonstrations in Hong Kong.
Angry anti-government protesters smashed their way literally into the city-state's main government building, Parliament Chamber. They were equipped with hard hats and gas masks. Once they got into that chamber, they started spraying graffiti. They ransacked desks. They basically occupied the place. As we saw when we were in Hong Kong last week, they were well organized, using social media and other means to communicate and move forward. We also witnessed last week firsthand police showing restraint. And in fact, the police let this whole thing happen for several hours.
Fox's Greg Palcott in London. Hong Kong police eventually using tear gas and batons to disperse the protesters. A white man in Mississippi is now facing federal charges for a cross burning nearly 2 years ago.
A court filing accuses Graham Williamson of building a large wooden cross near the home of an African-American family and lighting it on fire in the town of Seminary, Mississippi, near Hattiesburg. The incident took place in October of 2017. It could land Williamson in federal prison for decades. Prosecutors say a second man, Louis Bernard Rivette, has already pleaded guilty in the case. He's facing prison and $500,000 in fines. Both Williamson and Rivette are white. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Wall Street hopeful about the U.S. and China restarting trade talks. Shares of chip makers higher, especially after President Trump's tweet about easing restrictions on telecom giant Huawei.
He said this: at the request of our high-tech companies and President Xi, I agreed to allow Chinese company Huawei to buy product from them, which will not impact our national security. That put a bid under these stocks. That's why they're higher today.
Fox Business Network's Jerry Willis at the New York Stock Exchange. Again, the Dow up 117 at the closing bell, but shy of a new record. The S&P, though, holding on to record territory. The NASDAQ up as well. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites: AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
Get a free Polar Pop any size when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a free coffee any size when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get $5 off any Circle K car wash package when you purchase $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 6 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. By a vote of 8-6 yesterday, Guam lawmakers, Democratic senators, rejected fellow Democratic Governor Lou Leonguerel's request to waive the public hearing requirement and act immediately on her bill authorizing the Attorney General to join in a lawsuit already filed against the manufacturer of polyfluoroalkyls, commonly known as PFAS chemicals. Following the vote, the governor in a statement said the legislature's lack of urgency on the issue is concerning. Every day of delay on this effort threatens our ability to join the ongoing litigation, she said. The governor and attorney general had urged swift passage of Bill 2-1-S without a public hearing because the deadline to join the litigation is August 4th. PFAS chemicals are known as forever chemicals because they do not break down. In recent years, the governor has said several island water wells have tested positive for high levels of PFAS derivative chemicals. However, at the start of the special session yesterday, Vice Speaker Talina Nelson rose to say that Senator Sabina Perez, whose committee on the environment has oversight, had already scheduled a public hearing on the governor's emergency measure for July 9th. She made a motion to recess until after that public hearing. Voting against the governor and for the motion to recess were Democratic Senators Regine Bisco-Lee, Kelly Marsh, Talina Nelson, Sabina Perez, Clint Rigel, Joe San Augustine, Amanda Shelton, and Therese Terlahi. That left only Speaker Barnes and Senator Jose Terlahi, the only two Democrats, in support of the governor. They were joined by Republican Senators Will Castro, James Moylan, Luis Muña, and Tello Taitagui, who voted against the motion to recess and for the governor. Senator Mary Torres had an excused absence. In a statement after the vote, Speaker Barnes said that while she supports the governor's bill, the body has spoken, adding that lawmakers did not act in defiance of the governor, but were keeping their commitment to the people. Republican Minority Leader Will Castro, meanwhile, also issued a statement saying, "We must take immediate action before any further harm is caused." He said, an indefinite recess does nothing to further the discussion on this important matter. A former Department of Corrections officer accused in a major drug smuggling investigation at the prison will not serve any time behind bars. District Court Chief Judge Francis Tadenko Gatewood yesterday sentenced 33-year-old Edward Crisostomo to 12 months of home detention, with 6 days credited for time served, followed by 3 years of supervised release. Crisostomo was among several corrections officers and inmates accused in the 2017 prison contraband conspiracy. He pleaded guilty to being a drug user and possession of a firearm, a charge that carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Prosecutors credited Crisostomo for cooperating fully with the investigation by providing information on DOC officers and prisoners who took part in the scheme. During his sentencing hearing yesterday, Crisostomo apologized to his family and friends and the people of Guam. We'll have more news after this.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
Business travel travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data2Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data2Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. The Megabyte computer store in Tamuning was robbed early last Friday morning. Operations manager Jason Gregg says more than $30,000 in electronic goods were stolen, including laptops, cameras, tablets, and other electronic goods. Video of the break-in shows a man dressed in black with a black ski mask filling trash bags with merchandise from the store shelves and then driving off in a silver Toyota Corolla towards the ITC intersection. According to police, the suspect is believed to be 5 feet 3 inches tall and weighing about 155 pounds. He's described as local with very distinct creases, wrinkles between his eyes. The vehicle he drove away in is a 1998 or 2000 silver Toyota Corolla that's heavily oxidized, especially on the hood, and has tinted side windows and black scratches on the right rear bumper. Megabyte is offering a $500 cash reward for more information leading to the man's arrest. Anyone with information is asked to call Megabyte or call the Guam Police Dispatch Line at 472-8911 or call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. Guam's public debt nearly doubled between 2005 and 2017, according to a report issued last month by the U.S. Government Accountability Office. The GAO found that Guam's debt grew from 24 to 45% of GDP over that 12-year period. New debt has primarily been used to refinance existing debt and fund infrastructure projects, according to the report. The largest amount of debt is held by the Guam Power Authority, followed by the Guam Waterworks Authority and the Guam Airport Authority. Although general revenue increased, the GAO report cites large pension liabilities, which, if left unaddressed, may hamper repayment of that debt. Guam's pension liabilities were $1.6 billion at the end of 2017, an amount that continues to pose a fiscal risk, according to the GAO. Government of Guam raised concerns about some aspects of the analysis of its debt, but the GAO maintains its analysis is correct, states the report. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Real Joe with a look at our weather.
Well, he typed it up. Isolated showers are in today's forecast, Kevin. Mostly sunny, a high near 90. Heat index values as high as 101 degrees. But if you think that's hot, there's other spots on the planet that are burning up even hotter than here. East-northeast winds 7 to 9 miles an hour. Expected highs today about 82 degrees. And we'll see the overnight lows obviously a lot lower than that. Sunset tonight about 6:52. Sunrise this morning was at 5:57. Got an opportunity to put the weather radar up on the screen so you can take a look and maybe you can figure it out. Looks like we've got some serious blobbage to the north of the island, but it doesn't look like any of that is affecting us, changing the direction of the wind just a hair, but still generally coming from the east right now, and we're watching some minor clouds begin to make their way towards the island. But as Mike always says, we're at that point in the morning where things begin to heat up a little bit, so even as they're washing over here, unless they're really heavy and have really got a lot to them, a lot of substance, they're probably just going to burn away as they get back over the island of Guam. Now, I think I was able to find a different version of the satellite imagery and put that up. Now this one here, this is the Section 8 version, because it's black and white. It's not color. If it was a color version, it would be the Dusatani, but it's black and white, so it's the Section 8 version of weather here for it. And you can see where Guam is. You can see the upper level clouds moving in the opposite direction, but you can see that blobbage that I was talking about just a second ago to the north of us. Doesn't look like it's going to be bringing anything to Guam. Maybe a little bit of cover for Saipan. Maybe they could use some of the rains the same way that we do here. 6:15 in the morning. That's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific. Where others put branches, they place roots.
We have some really great home loan programs, but did you know we have great business loans too? Every day we're working with companies to purchase equipment, to buy or build properties, or make tenant improvements. We offer letters of credit, working capital, and term loans, and we make all of our credit decisions here. Commercial loans, commercial banking from Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, Federally, FDIC, Viva Bank Pacific.
Hey, Joe, I might break these up a little bit. Portions of the program here brought to you by my pals over at Micronesia Renewable Energy, solar and battery storage now available. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. Grab your own Wendy's Berry Burst Chicken Salad with fresh berries, feta, and grilled chicken. It's healthy, and everybody know how important it is to be healthy, so go eat over there. And if you're going, you know what, I want healthy, but I want some crunch and spice on it, tell them to keep the grilled chicken and make it a fried, the crispy spicy sandwich that they've got over at Wendy's. That's good for you. Also brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future. And I think for about the 8th day in a row, I'll wish Charlie Hermosa a happy birthday. Nice to hang out with you and your crew at the place last night. And a couple of other places I'll tell you about on the other side. Do I have to take a break after this? I don't have a break set up, right? Okay, I'm going to save the other ones for later. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. 6:16 on The Ray Gibson Show.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
I got a couple of viewers in Washington State. Tommy Aguero says, Hoyt from Washington State. Jennifer Poschnitger is there. She says 100 degrees in Wilmington, North Carolina, where she was yesterday. I got a friend of mine in Paris today, and a little bit concerned. She sent me a couple of pictures in Paris, and there's one where she's just kind of standing there. I might put it up, but she's just kind of standing there, and there's this tower behind her. I'm like, hey, what's that tower back there? What's that do? Is that a TV thing? Kind of old school, wide at the base and narrow at the top. Apparently, it's apparently a feature of Paris when you go, but apparently very, very hot there, like 114.6 degrees. Some kind of people die in weather like that. There was a guy, I want to say it was a cycling event or something like that, right? So there's some kind of sporting event that they had, and a guy's like doing his thing, and then keels over and dies because it's too hot. And a whole bunch of other people that DNF'd or did not finish because it was so hot out there. I'm not taking any chances. I'm not taking any chance. But I will tell you this, and when I was growing up, and I'd hear my mom, talk about hot flashes and not being able to get comfortable, and golly, it's so hot, and they need to go. The air conditioner, boy, check the air con, it's not working good. Bang it on the side because it's not coming out cold enough. And I'd always, Mom, it's fine, it's fine. 57 years old, and I can't get comfortable. Everywhere that I have been, with the exception of this building here, because I'm in charge of the thermostat. I am managing partner in charge of the thermostat in this building, and I like it to be chilly here in the morning. I mean, I was going to say, take a look at Real Joe Cruz. Let me see if I can get him and that. Basically, wearing pajamas. He's got the hoodie going on him. Wait, hold it. Camera 4. There we go. All right. Let me just click on this here so you can see Real Joe Cruz, who is wearing. Yeah, it's cold in there. I put the thing down to like 62, 63 this morning because everywhere I went yesterday, it was just ridiculous, butt flap stick together hot. And I thought, you know what? Nobody needs that kind of thing. So I get it. There are a lot of businesses out there that are going, it's hot, but if I run the air conditioner any cooler, the power bill is going to go through the roof, and there goes my profit. You know what? Too bad. You want me to come to your place? I got nice jackets. I got a nice little Zara windbreaker, and I want to be able to wear it wherever I go, but I can't. I'm not even feeling comfortable in my regular. Are you feeling it? Are you feeling it where you're out there? Anyway, 20 after 6 o'clock in the morning. It is the Ray Gibson Show. Real Joe Cruz in the other studio pushing buttons for Michael Knight. who is probably by this time, because I know what happens to me. By this time, questioning whether he wants to get on that flight. You're just going, well, it's so nice in Manila. They got a MOA here. Oh, and by the way, that's how it's pronounced. I was counseled about that. Somebody said, where you want to go today? I said, I want to go shopping. Maybe I'm going to go to MOA. And they looked at me like, you're stupid. Nobody calls it MOA. It's MOA. You saying you want to go to MOA if you're going to be going off in that direction. But anyway, they got a MOA there, and great prices on San Miguel Light. But the job is here, so I anticipate that Michael Knight will get on the airplane and find his way home. He'll click his ruby red heels together 3 times and be back on the radio, and we'll fawn over the great job that you did here. Because it's not easy what he's doing. Because Real Joe Cruz now, he is in the building. This is freaking me out. Every day that I've come to work, while Joe's, he beats me to the office, which is weird because normally I'm the first one here. So I'm assuming that you're sleeping here, aren't you?
No, I need time to stop freaking out. I've been having anxiety for the last 3 weeks when Mike said you got to cover the Ray Gibson show.
So do you get that little Klitsky thing in your eyebrow?
Yeah, it twitches.
Right. The other guy that I get to spend my mornings with is Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post, and a couple of really, really interesting stories on the front page of the Post. Shall I go over them now? The ex-DOC officer, you want to tell this guy, the luckiest guy that ever wore a DEP Corps uniform. He got in and accusations about him and drugs and smuggling and all kinds of stuff in the Department of Corrections, but apparently cooperated. And the level of cooperation is I did it. I was abusing drug while I was in prison, but so did 8 other people, and he fingered those guys. And so based on the cooperation and all of that stuff, they said, well, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. Tell you what, 12 months. And you have to stay home. It's going to be home detention for 12 months. No cable TV for you. No internet. No WhatsApp. That's your punishment for doing all of the drugs out there. He's got to do 3 years of supervised release. But based on some of the things I'm hearing, I'm not sure exactly what they mean when they say supervised release over at the place. Red Lobster welcomes its first customers. And already Smug wants to know if they're open for breakfast. I don't know if they're open for breakfast over at the place. Would you like that? Lobster and eggs or something like that? And this story here from Kevin Kerrigan. GovGuam debt doubles to $2.6 billion in just a decade. Would that be the same decade that Eddie Calvo was the governor of Guam, right?
Most of the time.
Most of the time that he was in there. And before there was another Republican that we had in it. But before you get all crazy and wet the bed on this, just a couple of things. Is a significant amount of the new debt that we have is not necessarily debt of the systemically deficit-ridden, debt-ridden government of Guam by itself. There's also a lot of money that had been taken out and borrowed by the airport, by GWA, by GPA, and that all factors in there. And the question that I would be asking of the General Accounting Office in Washington D.C. is you take a look at the amount of debt that we have got here, but I wonder, and I'll ask Simon Sanchez about this later because I think it's an interesting angle on the question, how much of that is brought on by the requirements for us to live with consent decrees and court orders and regulation and compliance with federal rules. How much of that comes to us as a result of what sometimes I like to consider burdensome compliance? And there's a bunch of different ways that you can look at that. One of my favorites is Uncle Robert says, you only like compliance when it's somebody else's compliance. If it's against you, we hate compliance, we hate regulations. But otherwise, you got that. There are a couple of other interesting stories that we'll play around with on the program as it starts. But I cannot start the program without saying good morning to friends of mine on Facebook Live.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see the troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
I didn't realize the numbers were going to grow so fast and the comments were going to be flying so fast, so I didn't write down the top 10 this morning, but it wasn't Ismail at number 1. I thought, well, he's just coming in there now. There's Jennifer and Ismail and Tom Todzi saying, good morning, folks. Yoich Rengil, Ungil Tutao from him. And I love what he wrote about me on Facebook. He was talking about how habit-forming this program is. That's nice. I appreciate that. Bob Ellsworth saying, happy Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? That means tomorrow is Wednesday. And then what happens after that? Thursday. And who's working the morning show on Thursday? Nobody. We're gonna play stale network programming and on Thursday morning, and because it's going to be our day off here. It's Independence Day, and there's so much going on. I'll tell you about some of the great plans that you can get into. Johnny Barcina, St. Nicholas is there. Cousin Tommy's on. I saw him. Dennis Ben Soor, Smug Wimp asking, is Red Lobster open for breakfast? See, Tommy Barcinas is there, Lynn Vince Borja Polino, and Belle B. Sutton from Ruston, Louisiana. Wow. Every once in a while, I get this weird kind of pen pal ham radio feel, and you realize that there's somebody out there that is watching somewhere far, far away. And I don't know where Ruston is, but I certainly know where New Orleans is, and one of my favorite cities there. And just I'd love to find someplace here that can make a gumbo. You know, for real seafood gumbo. I haven't had that in just forever. And I know you're going to say, Ray, you can make it. You can go to the store. They got an aisle at Payless that has all of the spices that you need to make the gumbo. And if you hold your nose right somewhere, you might even be able to find some andouille around here to throw that in there. And if you can stomach, I'm not good at it. I'll tell you what, but I'm sure Belle understands the concept. But how are you with okra? Are you all right with okra?
I can't stand it. Some people can.
Kevin, okra.
It's good. I got no problem.
You don't you feel that they get a little bit of sliminess in it every once in a while?
It's not too bad.
It's not bad. Okay,
if it's cooked right.
I suppose. I don't know. And maybe that's the deal. As I just haven't found anybody that cooks it right. But there's something about that. I mean, I know that there's other ways that we can emulsify, but it just doesn't come out tasting the same unless you've got that in there. But I'll survive it because it's been so long. You ever had pickled okra?
Yes.
Yeah, you ever had that? I've seen people, they pull it out the jar and just chew it like that and go, slimy. It's slimy. It's like mucus on vegetables. Where was I? Joe Flores is online. Hoffa Lily and crew. Roy Burgess. Hey, there's my running buddy. Roy Burgess is online this morning. I see you on Thursday morning, right? We're going to go run around Aganya and up into Sinahanya. Ismail says, abandon ship. Maga Haga's the captain. Doesn't she have to go down with the ship? Are we... It's only been 6 months, guy. Cousin Ricky Underwood is there. Teddo from the ranch is online. Greg Karabrock from Take Care. Pam Duvall. Eric McKinnon wishing us a good morning. Like I said, Tommy Aguero in Washington State. Jennifer Poe-Schnitger out in Wilmington, North Carolina. 100 degrees out there yesterday. But what's the deal? But it's a dry heat, they say. You know what? Hot is hot. I've walked around Carowinds and places like that in the middle of summer. In fact, right around the 4th of July, walking around the Carowinds out in North Carolina. And it is a dry, blistering heat. One of the things that they do there, and we got to do this here, we got to learn to do this here, is if you run a restaurant or a bar or something like that, and you've got access to the outside, I'm serious, you think about doing this. And in fact, Red Lobster's got an outside place. What's the name of the type? Bantai has got kind of an outside place as well. Put a water jug out there and some paper cups for customers the people that are passing by. They might come in and get a full on something to eat and drink, but really, what's it cost you to put out just a little bit of ice water for especially moms and dads and little kids that are going by that might not have a water bottle on them. James Lanzo is online. I got Vicky Ganashis Borja, Juanita Mati, and Bob Lizama, Lillian Cruz, James Pillsbury saying half a day to everybody. I got Chuck Sanchez. What's he say? James Pillsbury says, I pray everyone has a blessed day as well as our night. I pray I win the lottery. James, if you could send a couple of prayers over in that direction, that'd be great. Mike Camacho in Tacoma, Washington. And where else? Originally from Santa Rita, but up in the Tacomas now. That's nice. Florence, there are a lot of people from Santa Rita, Agate, out in the Tacoma area. I mean, just look around. Somebody's got an I Heart Guam bumper sticker on the car or something like that. That's how you kind of know everybody. Eric McKinnon is there, and Ken LG. Ken, I'm sure, will have some interesting things to say about the GAO report and the comparisons that can be made between here and the Virgin Islands and say the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas, and of course, his not Whipping Boy, but his favorite cautionary tale, which is Puerto Rico. Ray Cruz saying buenas. Nate Horn is on. Flo Cruz, Randy Kruger. It's a long list this morning. Renee is on. Renee, she was the one I was telling you about. Is in Paris, France. Yeah, in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower right now, and I hope you're staying cool, sweetheart. See you when you come home. Vivian Cunningham is there, Adonis Mendiola. Marge C. Johnson saying half a day. Cody James. I got Adonis Mendiola. Jane Sasai is on. Bonnie Matanani saying, Manana Sidzuas, well, good morning to you as well. Rose Bill Murphy. Half a Bill, nice to see you, Sergeant-at-Arms. Used to be a sergeant-at-arms over at the legislature. He is now the official sergeant-at-arms of the Ray Gibson Show here on 93.3 The Point. Gina Kono is there. Cody James say, I got a couple of roux and filet powder if you need for gumbo. Cody, we'll make it together. We'll make it together. I met a lady last night. Her name is Honey. Serious. Her name is Honey. And we got to talking about what it is that she's got. I mean, she's got a regular job. She works at, as a financing supervisor someplace, real high up there. I said, what else you do? She says, I raise shrimp. Her? What? Her? And I was eating kind. She says, yeah, but she also raises ornamental shrimp, the kind that you buy in the fish stores, pet stores. So shrimp that you can put in the tank with all kinds of other stuff. And I suppose you can eat those too. They're expensive, like $25 a head, but still. So yeah, filet powder and if you can make some, you don't need to buy roux. You can make it. And I think if you ask me, that's the first of the hard parts of making gumbo is putting the roux together, because you can really blow that and come up with something that's undigestible. Bonnie Matanani is there. Raw Stir. Yes, I got the email that you sent me about the 2K 5K. Ken LG says Gov Guam debt $2.8 billion, all in debt for Gov Guam and agencies just under $500 million. What is that? $4.9 billion. What else are we playing around with? Rico Blancaflor. Who is on. Lillian says Ruston is about 5 hours north of New Orleans. Sun Valley, Idaho, where Big Jim Brooks is at right now. Stephen Medrano, Mabuhay, Lillian Cruz out in is either saying no or that's New Orleans. I'm not entirely sure. Steve Medrano with a Mabuhay wish for everybody. Are you up that early? We talked about this yesterday. Is the inability to sleep past your regular time because you're out of your time zone in the Philippines. You're off by 2 hours in the wrong direction, but it still doesn't make any difference. It's 6 on Guam. I got to be awake because it's where my body is. 6:33 in the morning, and we'll go through the table of contents and some of the interesting things that I find here today, including something that Kevin Kerrigan sent to me, because I think there's going to be a point where this conversation about PFASs, polyfluoroalkyls, is going to go head-to-head against GWA, and a point that they are making about, is Guam's water safe to drink? In their 20th annual water quality report, their 2018 water quality report, asked the question on the front, is Guam's water safe to drink? Hung on. Yes, Guam's water is safe to drink. Well, then why is everybody breathless over at the administration and freaking out about PFASs? And we're getting emails from senators saying, it's in the wells, it's in the wells. This is why I only drink beer. It's 6:34, time for headlines. From the Guam Daily Post, Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning: a former Department of Corrections officer accused in a major drug smuggling investigation at the prison won't serve any time behind bars. District Court Chief Judge Francis Tadenko Gatewood yesterday sentencing 33-year-old Edward Crisostomo to 12 months in home detention with 6 days credited for time served, followed by 3 years of supervised release. Crisostomo was among several corrections officers and inmates accused in the 2017 prison contraband conspiracy. He pleaded guilty to being a drug user in possession of a firearm, a charge that carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in jail. Prosecutors credited Crisostomo for cooperating fully with the investigation, by providing information on DOC officers and prisoners who took part in the scheme. During his sentencing hearing yesterday, Crisostomo apologized to his family and friends and the people of Guam. The Megabyte computer store in Tamuning was robbed early last Friday morning. Operations manager Jason Gregg says more than $30,000 in electronic goods were stolen, including laptops, cameras, tablets, and other electronic items. Video of the break-in shows a man dressed in black wearing a black ski mask, filling trash bags with merchandise from the store shelves, and then driving off in a silver Toyota Corolla towards the ITC intersection. The suspect, said to be 5 feet 3 inches tall, weighing about 155 pounds. He's described as local, with very distinct creases or wrinkles between his eyes. The vehicle he drove away in is a 1998 or 2000 silver Toyota Corolla that is heavily rusted, especially on the hood. It has tinted side windows and black scratches on the right rear bumper and the roof above the right rear door. Megabyte is offering a $500 cash reward for information leading to the man's arrest and conviction. Anyone with information is asked to call Megabyte or call the Guam Police Dispatch Line at 472-8911 or call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. Guam police helped a visitor who had just arrived on island recover her bag containing a laptop and personal items worth about $3,000. The woman's flight arrived early last Wednesday morning. She took a cab to her hotel, but when she checked in, she realized she had left her handbag in the cab. She tried for hours to track down the cab. Finally, she went to the Tumon Police Precinct. Officers managed to find the cab driver who brought the bag to the precinct. The woman was in tears when they gave her the bag, said police. Guam Police Department spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau said the officers were just doing what they do on a regular basis, and that is helping people. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I think I might do that. 6:37 in the morning, and we'll call that iConnect time. Give them a ring at 888-8888 and learn about the great prices and packages they've got for you for mobile and internet plans at iConnect.
When it comes to power and performance, nothing compares to Dodge. And right now at Cars Plus in Mighty, you can save thousands on many Dodge vehicles in stock during our Dodge Performance Days. Like a new 2019 Grand Caravan SE, save $4,250, or save $6,150 on a new Durango SXT. Looking for more power? Take home a new Charger SXT Plus today for only $37,689, or save over $7,000 on a new Challenger GT. Get more power and performance at Cars Plus in Mighty during Dodge Performance Days. Cars Plus, driven by you.
That is the sound of the music that I play in the background when I do the traffic report starting early this morning at 6:38. Doesn't look like there's any traffic to speak of. Northbound traffic, Marine Corps Drive headed towards Jigo is all clear until you get to Anderson Air Force Base. A little bit of traffic around the Woostig area and south towards Waisang Song, but otherwise it's not so bad. Machecha is in the clear right now, though that intersection that takes you aboard Alageta Street is starting to busy up a little bit this morning. I'm looking at the other side of it over at the intersection with the 76 Circle K, but it looks like that one is running clear this morning as well. Might see a little bit of traffic down in the Tumon area. This one here looks like it's in between. It's that turn by the police station, the Koban down at the police station between Gabriel's and Tampong Time. Have you eaten that chicken yet?
No, sir. What is Tampong Time?
Tampong.
No, never heard of it.
Tampong Time. Looks like a little bit of traffic. It's up, down on Happy Landing Road that's slowing people down. Marine Corps Drive past that is going to be looking all right. Might see a little bit of traffic over by the intersection of Marine Corps Drive and 10 Alpha. That's the downstairs 76, but the rest of it is all right. Into Wagania, no sweat. Route 4 is running clear. Route 8 is running clear. Let me just scooch down to Big Navy. Big Navy is wide open right now down in Sumai. 20 away from, 7 o'clock? Yeah, all right. That's right now. Traffic on the point.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it?
I'll take a book club.
Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
I don't know, maybe a dozen years ago, the B-52s had a tune out called The Summer of Love. Cars Plus says it's the summer of Jeep. Got a sale going on all month long. The Compasses, the Cherokees, the Grand Cherokees are all on sale. You're going to love the prices. But you're probably like me. You think about a Jeep. And the image comes into your head, and it's generally the image of the Wrangler. And they've got a bunch of Wranglers and a bunch of different kinds of colors that you're just going to want to fall into. And I think one of my favorite things about that version of a Jeep, that Wrangler version of the Jeep, is my favorite thing about it is I think they're all just so customizable. They're so, the word I like to use is hackable. You can get into them and absolutely make them your own, and I think that's cool. 19 away from the top of the hour, you might be thinking about where to go and get something to eat. Tuesdays only. You need to hear about this. 2 endless garden bars, 2 tasty entrees, and a dessert that you share for one price. Ruby Tuesdays, 2 for $1 Tuesdays, complete meals, terrific value, $25.99. One for you, one for the other person you like to watch eat. And we got the salad bars, and we got an opportunity for you to share a terrific dessert. Available all day, every Tuesday, for a limited time at Ruby Tuesdays on Guam. 888-8255. Forgot to give you the phone number. I don't know how the heck we're going to do the morning show if I don't tell you what number to call me at. 888-8255, 888-TALK is the telephone number. Hit me at WhatsApps. I have WhatsApp's number here at the radio station because we are up to date with technology. We know that this is the way that you choose primarily to communicate. It's WhatsApp, and I like it because we're multimedia around here, audio, video. We can play it all, and you just got a picture of something cool. 988-5874. That's 988-5874. What's that? Who's there? Who is it? Oh,
the other governor.
The other Governor Leon Guerrero. That would be Governor Ken Leon Guerrero, and I'm going to use that bit all the way through the Lou and Josh administration, just because I know that there's people over at Adelup that bristle every single time I say it. Good morning, Ken. How you doing there, buddy?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
Did you read all 78 pages of the GAO Public Debt Outlook for the U.S. territories, or are you like me? Did you just dive headfirst into the what is it called? The executive summary on page 2?
Into the weeds.
Really? Okay, all right. Well, here's what they say about Guam. Guam's public debt increased by 6% between FY 2015 and 2017, growing from 44 to 45% of our GDP. New debt has primarily been used to refinance existing debt and fund infrastructure projects. Our general revenue increased by 12% during this period, and it operated with a surplus. Pension liabilities continue to present a fiscal risk that may affect repayment of public debt in the future. But and that's like, what was that, 3 sentences, as opposed to what it said about Puerto Rico, which is virtually the entire top of the paper.
Well, basically, what we're looking at is only a couple of numbers, and that's where this report threw me off a little bit, because when I was listening to a C-SPAN review of the territorial debt on PROMESA, they were talking about the reason they're in this problems. They were only looking at a couple of numbers. They needed to look at everything going forward. They're going to be focusing on all debt. So I took all government of Guam audit reports, took all the numbers, crunched them, and that's how I came up to $4.9 billion in debt. So we're at like 96% of GDP when you look at it from that perspective, because we're putting in the accrued overtime, the liabilities, the deficit, the leases, everything, throw it in for $4.9 billion.
Yeah.
So when we do the same numbers for Puerto Rico, their per person debt comes out at $34,023 per person.
What I like to call kind of an original sin. It doesn't. You could have been born. You'd be born today. Tom Shea might be pulling you out of something right now, today, and you were already settled with about $16,000 a year worth of debt.
Yeah, and to make things convenient, they're going to be barcoding everybody so that you can pay your appropriate part of the debt from day one. But here's the scary part. When Puerto Rico declared bankruptcy following the traditional format, we were $306 behind Puerto Rico in 2015 on the per-person debt. And now that Puerto Rico has declared, well, they've been taken over basically, and the federal government is forcing Puerto Rico to use the all-in numbers for calculating their debt, and it came up to $142,150,000 and change.
Yeah, okay.
142 billion. So when we take that same formula that the federal government is forcing on Puerto Rico, their per-person debt came up to $34,215. Our per-person debt is $29,368. So we're now $5,000 behind Puerto Rico. So that shows some improvement. We've gone from $306 to $5,000. But the difference is, when I looked at it, Puerto Rico has liabilities the government of Guam doesn't have. Puerto Rico, in their government employee package and in their state law, they provide a mandatory Christmas bonus. We don't have that in government of Guam, except for senators and the agency heads around Black Friday when they meet in secret session and give themselves a one-year retroactive pay raise. But other than that, we are dancing with Puerto Rico. They're leading, and I'm hoping that sometime sanity breaks out in Adelup and they put the brakes on, but we don't see any sign of that happening. So I think the real reason why Lou is taking so many trips to Washington, D.C. is she's secretly lining up potential creditors to take over government of Guam.
Oh, but get out of here with that. Get out. We've got our strategy is not that. Our strategy now, my friend, is getting lined up in this PFAS lawsuit and going after and helping bankrupt 3M. I think that is the plan right now, and that's why they're moving so quickly. If you start Googling up PFASs and things like that, the number of municipalities that are lining up in this class action is astonishing at this point. We got to make sure that we get in there. Like I said, it's gonna feel like the last days before anybody can go and say that Polly touched me in an inappropriate way. Hey, I've got a question about the debt here and how much it has ballooned over the years. And as I said, GAO says a lot of this has to do with some infrastructure projects, and there's a couple of big ones, obviously, at the ports. We got what's happening at the airport. We got what's happening over at the Port of Guam. But I wanted to talk with the utility guys about it, so I'm going to let you run.
Okay.
I'll see you. That's Ken LG, like I said, the other governor, Leon Guerrero, and now Simon Sanchez on line 2. Good morning, Si.
Hey, Ray. Good morning to you. How you doing?
You know what? I'm doing good. I had a terrific weekend. I don't know about you. I know that you guys are busy up with family stuff, but did you manage to have some fun this weekend?
Absolutely. The Father Duenas annual tournament is going on, so that's a 3-week excuse to barbecue and drink beer. Yeah. Oh, by the way, there's a basketball game inside.
Yeah, somebody's playing. I keep getting invited to play basketball, which is amazing because the guys, when I was actually in high school, I was never the first guy picked. I was always the last guy picked, and somebody's got to take Ray, and it always came down to that. So I'm not looking forward to reliving those moments again in the jungle.
Well, the barbecue and the beer is worth it. Plus, everybody younger than you, which is about 90% of everybody there, has to go get you a beer and a plate and all of your guests. So,
senior privilege.
The best you're ever going to be treated anywhere on the planet is that if you're FD grad, is at the FD tournament. After that, you got to earn it.
I could go there. A bunch of the guys on the class of '80 WhatsApp have been yakking about that over the last couple of days, and apparently somebody promised Judge Berdalio that we were going to come out in force in the class of '80, and I'm like, I don't know. Anyway,
to play. I mean, you're going to see the kids. You see families and generations of families. Yeah. People you went to school with, now their children, now their grandchildren, and everybody knows you and you know everybody. And it's just a really wonderful environment for that little school to still keep the connections it does and pursue the things it tries to pursue. So anyway, that's what I've been doing, and a little swimming at the pool that's now open.
Right.
But as you always stress, try to do whatever you can, whether it's just taking a walk or gardening or whatever you feel is comfortable. Try to get out in our beautiful island and
Dude, I went diving. I went diving yesterday or Sunday for the first time in a long, long time. Boat dive, and it was just. I can't tell you how unstressed I was coming out of the water because I get one of these long, like 30. You bottom out at 30 feet. I got one of those long dives. You suck the tank dry, and for that entire time, there's no WhatsApp, there's no Facebook, there's no phone, there's no email. It's just you.
Public debt.
Yeah, public debt.
No PFAS, maybe.
Okay. Let me roll into that. I forget what the numbers were. I think the Guam Daily Post has got them on their website where they break down some of the numbers associated with the refinancing and then of course we've got the infrastructure projects. So I want to say we're closing a little over $1 billion worth of infrastructure borrowing, right?
Yeah, and then the thing with the waterworks, right? I mean that $500 million, I think it's the number, something like that. That's all. There was no debt at Guam Waterworks Authority prior to that period of time because there was no infrastructure being built. And so, from the one hand, you get nervous because the debt level has gone up. On the other hand, we have a $70 million wastewater treatment plant in Agate now that is protecting our oceans and doing what it's supposed to do. We spent $50 million on sewer outfalls. Remember how they used to leak right into Agana Bay? We upgraded all the wastewater treatment. We have begun to modernize the water system. So from that point of view, you can argue, well, the debt is bad. That's nobody likes debt. On the other hand, you have infrastructure now in place we never had that is cleaning our water, protecting our oceans, and so from a perspective, one perspective is, well, if you started with zero and you went up to $500 million, you hate the debt, but you like what you've achieved with the infrastructure.
We've got assets now.
The system, right? You got assets, and so those are the trade-offs. With GPA, I have to kind of double check because we had existing debt. So when they're talking about total debt, some of that we may have already had. I don't recall that we added too much debt at GPA. We did do some refinancing as our credit rating improved. We paid off older bonds, but still, I mean, the GAO report, I think, shows what many communities are struggling with, particularly smaller communities like ours, where on the one hand you're trying to stay modern and rebuild. On the other hand, you got small economies, you got tough cost of living, small communities that you can't amortize debt across. Puerto Rico's debt per capita debt is high, and they got 4 million people, so the total debt is huge, and the per capita debt is huge. And I think it's very valid to say we want to be careful about debt management. But like the pension, the right now, my sister's on the retirement board, and the governor alluded to it in her response. We're paying 30% of payroll, and by 2033, that $1.6 billion pension liability will go away. Now, how does that hurt us now? It hurts us now because 30% of payroll is going to retiring that pension. So the debt is being retired, and I've never heard anybody say in the last 20 years, let's reduce the contribution. So everyone is paying a higher contribution. Guam pays a higher contribution for its employees to pay off that debt. The bad news is that takes money away from police, public
operations, yes,
and those things. But there is a plan to retire that pension, and I look forward to the day when your kids and grandkids and my kids and grandkids get to see a government that isn't giving 30% of payroll to retirement, and that's only 15, 16 years away. It could be in our lifetime, and then that frees up a ton of money for other things. But we created a very generous defined benefit plan. We ended it in the 90s, but we had a lot of people on it. And as those people age out and leave us, then that pension liability goes down. But we're, in the meantime, private sector, what do we pay to Social Security? 7-8%, something like that. GovOne pays 30%.
Right. Well, one of the points that I wanted to make on this debt, especially some of the infrastructure debt that we're talking about, is how much of it, by percentage, do you suppose comes to us because we have to comply with consent decrees, court orders, and the functions of the regulating agencies that say you have to do this. So, I bristle when I start to see some of these things, and I see criticism of the debt on the government of Guam, and I go, well, how much of that is comes to us because of requirements of the federal government, not just because we're out here playing footloose and fancy free with dough.
Well, I mean, federal government. I mean, if you want clean water, there are standards you want to meet. Now, we're a U.S. territory, so we follow U.S. standards. You can follow other standards, but regardless, we should be cleaning our water. We should be protecting our oceans. And to me, we should have started this 20, 30 years ago, and then that debt actually would start to come down because we would have paid for it. But we would have had to raise rates 20 or 30 years ago. We would have had a very different model, and we started late. But I don't know how else you get away from insisting upon clean water, safe drinking water. You're going to need debt for energy. And I don't even know if the GAO report counts these public-private partnerships, which are sort of like debt because it's a build, operate, transfer where we're using other people's money and then buying it back. I haven't had a chance to read the report. But
it's only 78 pages long, Si. I mean, you should be able to cover that in about 5 minutes. Hey, now, I'm speaking of reports. I've got one in my hand, and it's going to be interesting, this conversation about PFASs, which is something that I didn't know about until yesterday when I saw a story in the Guam Daily Post about it, and what seems like this headlong rush by Adelup and some over at the legislature to get in there and ensure the safety of our water. And I'm going, but GWA just came out with their 2018 water quality report, says water is safe, and there's nothing in the report that even mentions PFASs. And so I'm going, what is all this about? What wizardry is afoot?
Let me help you connect the dots. So, and Miguel Bradau is really the better source for this, but as I understand this, right, in the last decade, PFAS, PFOS, this whole derivative of these entities, whatever these things are, these has emerged on US EPA and other standards as a health threat. Now, it wasn't a health threat 20 years ago, it wasn't a health threat 30 years ago, so you didn't measure for it. Well, in recent years, EPA said to start measuring for it. We actually, and so we complied, and we found out, I think 6 of our wells have a derivative called PFOS, P-F-O-S, but it's all part of FAS. But it's all part of, so we either shut down those wells or remediated those wells, and you have to meet an EPA standard before you can use that water. But when GWA says your water is safe to drink, based on the EPA standards, we're required, and that's an EPA report we're required to issue.
Yeah.
And it takes all of our reports, all of our lab tests, which we share with EPA, and we give a report to our community. Based on the standard drinking water required by US EPA, we meet those standards when we have shut down those wells that have some PFAS in it and PFOS in it. But simultaneously, the country is now going after the folks that make this stuff, and that's where all this litigation is beginning to emerge. And it's my understanding that there's a window closing for Guam to join the litigation, but we've been aware of this issue for a couple of years. You've actually covered a little bit in your news that it was the PFOS, and we had to shut down a well and remediate it, and it's a new thing we're now being told isn't safe for us. We have to test for it, and now states and communities are suing. I'm not sure who they're suing. I imagine they're suing the manufacturer.
Everybody, 3M at the top.
3M, Monsanto, and all those guys.
Yep.
So I think there's a big class action suit, and so the headlong rush, whatever you want to call it, it's been around, and I think we've known since last August about the litigation, and I think there's a dead.
How come we're just going for it now?
You know, a lot of things going on. People leaving administrations, new administrations coming in, AGs, old AGs. But I think my understanding is we still have time to join, and I'm sure the governor and the legislature they were jousting and positioning for how to deal with it. But I didn't hear anybody say they weren't.
That they weren't. Yeah, just we kind of worry about is there an immediate threat? I think it's emergency sessions and things like that. Where were these wells that were shut down? What vicinities of the island are they at?
Check with Miguel. I want to say Central Guam had a couple. I think like their NAS, right? And NAS well had a couple of different contamination issues, which one has been remediated, and I think the other one is related to PFAS. But that's where Miguel will be more.
Well, I'll try to find him this morning. I'm just kind of curious about
100 wells or so, about 110 wells we have. I think there's 3 or 5 of them that we don't use and put water into the system. We have plenty of water from the remaining wells, right? And we haven't had trouble providing water. And this is just another set of contaminants we have to test for. And if there's too much of it, you got to either mitigate it or shut down that well. And the whole country now is going through this. What's going on with PFAS, PFOS? We're going to sue.
But the other one is find me a doctor so I can talk to somebody about what exactly is the problem with PFAS. I read a story this morning talking about a family with concerns about their kids. They don't know what the irreversible health problems are. Doctors don't know how to address them, and they're talking about large-scale, long-term studies on all of this stuff. So I got to break away. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Maybe see you this weekend on the basketball court.
Okay, have a great weekend. Thanks.
Oh, well, buddy. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. The radio station KUSG had gotten you. Stand by. Fox News Live's coming up next on the other side of that. Kevin Kerrigan on your screens right now. My friend Renee, who is enjoying summertime in Paris at the foot of the well-lit Eiffel Tower. I'm going to leave that up there for a second. I think it's a pretty picture for a Tuesday morning. Fox News Live coming up next on 93.3 The Point.
The Trump administration sends a new message to Iran. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. This as Iran announces it is now in breach of the nuclear deal the U.S. pulled out of. Fox's Jared Halpern is live in Washington.
The Trump administration says maximum pressure will continue to be applied to Iran. A White House statement calling on the Iranian regime to end its nuclear ambitions and its malign behavior. Iran announced it is increasing uranium enrichment beyond limits set in the 2015 nuclear deal. President Trump withdrew the U.S. from that pact that was agreed to by Iran and European and UN partners. Since then, tensions between the U.S. and Iran have grown. Last month, Iran shot down an unmanned U.S. drone. President Trump says he was within minutes of ordering airstrikes in response. Lisa.
Meantime, Jared, the Trump administration also insisting today that it still wants full denuclearization by North Korea after a published report suggesting they might settle for less.
The National Security Advisor, John Bolton, saw that report, tweeted it out, and said, quote, I read this New York Times story with curiosity. Neither the NSC, National Security Council staff, nor I have discussed or heard any desire to settle for a nuclear freeze by North Korea. This was a reprehensible attempt by someone to box in the president. There should be consequences.
Fox's Rich Edson at the White House. Several Democratic presidential hopefuls have criticized the president's historic walk into North Korea and unexpected third meeting with Kim Jong-un yesterday as a photo op. A Facebook facility in California evacuated as officials investigate a bag of mail that tested positive for the nerve agent sarin. No person at the mail processing warehouse has shown any sign of exposure, but the building is under quarantine as that investigation continues. Officials have not ruled out the possibility of a false positive reading. This is Fox News.
Let's see now. Fast, easy, affordable. That's the best way to describe my home loan at Bank Pacific. Fast because we give quick decisions. Easy because we've cut back on the paperwork. Affordable because today's home loan rates are still so low. So see us today to refinance or consolidate or to buy or build your new home and save yourself some money.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
Thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
A Navy SEAL chief says he's not nervous at all. With his war crimes case about to head to the jury, Eddie Gallagher is accused of killing a wounded prisoner in Iraq in 2017. Navy prosecutors using Gallagher's own words and photos against him.
Now, in their closing argument today, Navy prosecutors again brought up the photographs Gallagher took posing with the body of the dead ISIS fighter, the testimony of 2 SEALs who said on the witness stand they saw Chief Gallagher stab the fighter, and a series of texts Gallagher sent, prosecutors putting them up on a large screen for the jury, including one text which read, quote, "Cool story behind this. Got him with my hunting knife."
Fox's Jonathan Hunt in San Diego. The defense argues that SEALs who didn't like Gallagher as a boss are out to get him. One medic testifying under immunity during the trial that he was the killer, not Gallagher. Students in Kentucky lose an appeal in a court fight over the chickenpox vaccine.
More than 24 Catholic school students and their parents have lost a court appeal to a 3-judge panel in Kentucky in challenging the health department's efforts to control a chickenpox outbreak. The state canceled extracurricular activities and later imposed a temporary ban on school attendance for unvaccinated students. The students plan to appeal to the state Supreme Court, claiming the health department is infringing on religious beliefs. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
A big upset in the first round at Wimbledon. Teenage sensation Coco Gauff knocking out Venus Williams in straight sets. Venus at 39, the oldest woman in the field. Gauff at 15, the youngest competitor ever to qualify in the pro era there. And that wasn't the only Wimbledon upset today. Two-time major champ Naomi Osaka, number one until a week ago, was also knocked out in the first round, losing to Yulia Putintseva. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Let's go for a drive.
Let's take a stroll. Let's gallivant.
Let's go cruising.
We all have different ways to describe how we get up and go in our cars. But whatever you may call it, you can do more of it when you save 6% off your fuel purchases at any Shell station when you use your eligible Bank of Guam Visa and MasterCard credit cards. So stop by any Guam or CNMI Shell station and start saving today. Visit bankofguam.com for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Member FDIC.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 7 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The attorney for retired Guam police officer John Tupazna Montanonia, who's accused of jury tampering and drug possession and distribution charges, has filed a motion asking that Chief Judge Francis Tydenko Gatewood of the District Court be disqualified from hearing his client's case. Defense attorney Jay Areola said Judge Gatewood has already indicated her bias and prejudice against his client. Montanonia is accused of influencing the jury in the drug trial of Raymond Martinez and Juanita Mosier. They were accused of trying to smuggle 8 pounds of meth into Guam from California. Their case went to trial in district court twice, and twice ended in a mistrial after the jury failed to reach a unanimous verdict. Prosecution moved the case to California, and then the couple ended up pleading guilty to drug distribution charges. Arguing for the judge's disqualification yesterday, attorney Areola pointed out that Judge Gatewood presided over both Martinez-Mosier trials and is a potential witness now in Montanonia's upcoming trial. She knows who all the jurors were and knows what was going on during that trial, said Areola. Areola also challenged the additional drug charges against his client, saying the government lacks any evidence that Montanonia possessed or distributed any drugs. Montanonia has been placed on home detention, awaiting his trial in August. His next hearing date is set for July 15th. The Megabyte computer store in Tamuning was robbed early last Friday morning. Operations manager Jason Gregg says more than $30,000 in electronic goods were stolen, including laptops, cameras, tablets, and other electronic items. Video of the break-in shows a man dressed in black, wearing a black ski mask, filling trash bags with merchandise from store shelves, and then driving off in a silver Toyota Corolla towards the ITC intersection. The suspect is believed to be 5 feet 3 inches tall, weighs about 155 pounds. He's described as local with very distinct creases or wrinkles between his eyes. The vehicle he drove away in is a 1998 or 2000 silver Toyota Corolla that's heavily rusted, especially on the hood. It has tinted side windows and black scratches on the right rear bumper and the roof above the right rear door. Megabyte is offering a $500 cash reward for any information leading to the man's arrest. Anybody with information is asked to call Megabyte or call Guam Police at 472-8911. You can also call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. We'll have more news after this.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
News time here at The Point is 10 minutes past 7 a.m. By a vote of 8-6, Guam lawmakers yesterday rejected fellow Democratic Governor Lou Leon Guerrero's request to waive the public hearing requirement and act immediately on her bill authorizing the Attorney General to join in a lawsuit already filed against the manufacturers of polyfluoroalkyls, commonly known as PFAS chemicals. Following the vote, the governor in a statement said the legislature's lack of urgency on the issue is concerning. Every day of delay in this effort threatens our ability to join the ongoing litigation, she said. The governor and the attorney general had urged swift passage of Bill 21-S without a public hearing because the deadline to join the litigation is August 4th. PFAS chemicals are known as forever chemicals because they do not break down. In recent years, the governor has said several island water wells have tested positive for high levels of PFAS derivative chemicals. However, at the start of the special session yesterday, Vice Speaker Talina Nelson rose to say that Senator Sabina Perez, whose Committee on the Environment has oversight, had already scheduled a public hearing on the governor's emergency bill for July 9th. She made a motion to recess until after that public hearing. Voting against the governor and for the motion to recess were Democratic Senators Regine Bisco-Lee, Kelly Marsh, Talina Nelson, Sabina Perez, Clint Rigel, Joe San Augustine, Amanda Shelton, and Therese Terlahi. That left just Speaker Barnes and Senator Jose Terlahi, the only two Democrats in support of the governor. They were joined by Republican Senators Will Castro, James Moylan, Luis Muñoz, and Tello Taitagui, who voted against the motion to recess and for the governor. Senator Mary Torres had an excused absence. In a statement after the vote, Speaker Barnes said while she supports the governor's bill, the body has spoken, adding that lawmakers did not act in defiance of the governor, but were keeping their commitment to the people by holding the public hearing. Guam police helped a visitor last week who had just arrived on island to recover her bag containing a laptop and personal items worth about $3,000. The woman's flight arrived early last Wednesday morning. She took a cab to her hotel, but when she checked in, she realized that she'd left her handbag in the cab. She tried for hours to track down the cab. Finally, she went to the Tumon precinct. Officers managed to find the cab driver who agreed to come over to the precinct and bring the bag. Tumon precinct officer Matthew Terlahi said that the woman was in tears when we gave her the bag. Guam police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau says the officers were just doing their job, doing what they do on a regular basis, and that is helping people. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray now takes a look at weather.
That's just the happiest story in the history of happy stories on Guam. I'll tell you what, I'm really, really excited for the guys in blue helping that lady out. Isolated showers are in the forecast today. We got mostly sunny skies, though, with high near 90 degrees. Expect heat in the heat values today to be as high as 101 degrees. Only about 90 on the thermometer, but it will feel like that because of the additional humidity in the air. That's the fun of the heat index. East-northeast winds up to about 9 miles an hour today. Currently 82 degrees on the outside. Sunset tonight at 6:52. We'll watch the sunrise at 5:57. No major changes in the satellite, the radar imagery that I'm looking at right now. We're starting to see a little bit of a cloud mass going over the southern tip of the island right now, about the southern half or so. So you might experience either shade or rain. I'm not sure how much rain might be in that particular gizmo that is over the south right now. Got some other clouds that might be making their way into the central and northern parts of the island here in just a little bit. We'll take a look at the, as I said, Section 8 version of our infrared loop. It's normally an infrared colorized loop, but in this case, it's just black and white. We'll pony up a couple of bucks later on and get the full color one back up for you. But you can see the Guam is out there, and you can see the high clouds that are moving in a westerly direction, contrary to the southern clouds that are moving in more of an easterly direction. There is some blobbage up to the north. Doesn't look like it's going to be doing anything other than hovering over the northern end of Tinian and Saipan. Don't see too much to the southeast of the island that's going to be giving us any kind of bother. So I think that's going to end up being good news for us. 7:15 in the morning. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data to Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is data to go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
I hear you, buddy. Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by my friends over at Ruby Tuesdays. 2 open garden bars. It says endless, but I like open better. 2 tasty entrees and a dessert for you to share with a terrific price. Just $25.99. It's 2-for-1 Tuesdays. Available all day, every Tuesday for a limited time at Ruby Tuesdays, Guam. The portion of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by APL Global Presence with a local home. Micronesia Renewable Energy says there's never been a better time to go solar. Battery storage now with Solar System. 632-2613 gets you a free consultation. And the guys, Joey, Jen, and Dunge over at Cars Plus. It was performance days and nights. Well, now it's the summer of Jeep. You got a sale on Wranglers right now. Sale ends July 31st. Wrangler, not your speed. You're not going to be doing a whole lot of off-road. Don't want to feel like that guy driving down the road with the Dick CPEC tires making all that noise. Fine. We can get you behind the wheels of a Jeep, a Compass, a Cherokee. How about a Grand Cherokee? You're going to love the prices. And financing as low as 1.99% at Cars Plus in Mighty.
News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. The Ray Gibson Show.
Great-looking morning so far. Jerry Roberts in the Extra Point coming in just a little bit. Do want to do the shouts to, who's there? My little sister, Mona Silva, Dennis Borja. Nice to see you, Den, all the way in the States. Jennifer Louise Dula, Pedro Alvarez says, Ray, the 2 spotlight at Kapua Circle is blinding at night and needs to be turned off. It's very dangerous. The spotlight? There's a spotlight over at Kapua Circle?
Yeah, because of the carnival.
Really?
Yeah, there's a...
Were they shining it like in the driver's eyes? Is that like, hey, well, the carnival's here.
It's bright.
It's blinding. Okay, we'll talk to somebody. I don't know who to talk to, but I'll see what they can say about that. Katie Baltazar Dodge is online. I got Gary Shawnalls, Dave Torrey, Richard Leon, and my nephew R.D. Gibson, who's listening to the program at Pop's Kitchen Table out in Matthews, North Carolina. Richard Leon is there. Ken L.G. and a couple of numerical points based on the GAO. Mark Mendiola and a note from Gary to fix Route 9 near Anderson. You know, I never go on Route 9. I maybe in my life I've gone up Route 9, and my recollection is when I did it was by accident. I was like, where's Anderson Air Force Base? I missed the turn, and before I knew it, I was back in Dedido. What the? Huh? It's like a black hole up there. Ken LG says, Simon is right. Clean water is pricey. Went to Brazil and really learned to appreciate clean, safe water after that experience. Who else is playing around here? Doris Mendiola, Kenny Williams, Chan Marissa says, despite EPA standards, communities in the U.S. are not satisfied with those numbers. No, they don't seem to be, and it looks like there's going to be every community across the country is going to be lining up in this lawsuit now that we are trying to get into. Here's the thing. In my mind, they're going, they're kind of making it sound like, oh, we've got to worry about there's contaminants in the water, and oh my God, we've got to return it to its pristine state. Yeah. We're all getting itchy thinking about it. But at the end of it, they've already closed the wells where they found unallowable numbers of these PFASs. So it's not like there's this recurrent thread. It's just say it what it is. We need to get into this lawsuit. So the government has got to authorize the Attorney General's office to move in that direction. Just say that's what it is, as opposed to all the window dressing. I got Gwen Taminglo online. I got Joe Leasealangi. Charlie Laron is online. Lakeisha Pareda is hanging out with us this morning. That's nice. Just prettied the place up. Tony Annetta and Pinko Ada is there. And Heather Perez and Mingo Ree and a whole bunch of other people all lined up on Facebook Live this morning. Thanks very much. And I want to do a shout out to the names that I can't see because you're lurking on YouTube Live, and I haven't gone there to take a look yet. 7:18 in the morning. Take a look at the numbers on the market here. Trump says renewed trade talks with China are already underway, is the headline at CNBC. CNBC unhappy with where the market is going. I'm pretty sure the guys over at CNBC aren't happy that the Dow Jones Industrial Average is less than 300 points away from record 27,000 here. Picked up 117 points in daytime trading today. The NASDAQ at 8,091. It's 84 points higher. And I believe the S&P 500 might be in record territory, up by 22.57 points. That's the close at 29.64 is where the S&P 500 closed today. Watching the FTSE go up 71 points. The Nikkei is absolutely banging. 454 points worth of gains for the Nikkei yesterday. That's hot. Hang Seng down by about 78. The Shanghai index is up by 66 points because that's Shanghai is in China where the talks are already underway that Trump is having with them. So I got a feeling that there's going to be a sharp increase in the numbers. And in fact, you can already see that today. You can already tell that the movement, the trend is moving in that direction because gold is actually off. People are throwing all of their money in the equities as opposed to the heavy metals these days. So keep an eye on that. DAX up by 122 points. On the commodities that I like to look at, where's gold? Oil today, $59.19 or so. Earlier figure was $59.22. So I'll take the lower one. Thank you very much. TAP is trading at 69.31. That's the same number we had for you yesterday because it's Tuesday, and sometimes they like to hold on to it. So there is, as you already know, in what Rush calls the drive-by media, there is already a bias against Trump. And any good news that comes out about Trump has to be balanced with bad news that comes out about Trump or somebody that he's associated with. So CNBC this morning, never mind the fact that the Dow is that close to record territory. Never mind all of that. They had to go and find something. And so the story that they dug up is about a 28-year-old director of Oval Office operations who makes about $135,000 a year for doing that job. She's also been with him in that position since the beginning of the Trump administration. Originally came in at 90, and I guess they're happy with her. They're keeping her, and they gave her a raise to $135,000. So what's wrong with that?
I don't know. Maybe she's good at her job.
Yeah. Well, so they're making the point about how much more she is making than other people in that millennial age group. They're trying to divide and conquer. That's the way it works. I see what I saw that.
For a 24/7 job?
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Can you imagine running the Oval Office of the White House where the president lives?
$135,000 in Washington D.C. and you got to live there.
Yeah,
and the cost of living in D.C.
Yeah,
that might be underpaid.
You and I have been there.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. What's the name of that club we were at? Was it K Street, M Street? Do you remember?
I don't know. Club. It was a conference.
Not that night. There's a bunch of us from the conference were there, goofing off, if I recall. 7:22 in the morning. Jerry Roberts in the studio. You get double the Jerry Roberts today because it's Tuesday, and on Tuesdays you get him in the Guam Daily Post as well as on the radio. And an interesting column that he's got today. It talks about quit listening to those voices. You know, the ones in your head that will what? Yes, that will jinx you. That will jinx you. You might be on the golden path. But it's the sound of those doubts in your head
that have been planted there since forever.
How did those get there? Who did the planting in there?
Oh, gee, maybe parents.
Can we blame television?
Television,
movies,
anything.
Video games, just all kinds of things. You're not good enough. You don't deserve this. You're not fast enough, pretty enough, smart enough.
Everything we've ever seen, smelled, tasted, heard is all there.
All right, and so there is a process of tuning them. First of all, recognizing them, right?
Yeah.
And then tuning them out
as best you can.
Yeah.
And moving forward.
This recreational marijuana is the recommended.
I did not write that.
Well, no, it's not in there. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that are going to well, I can't turn off the voices. I hear them constantly. What do I do about it? Well, distract yourself with something. You know what? Distract yourself with something you're good at. You know, but you want to read the whole thing. Jerry Roberts has got that, like I said, in the Guam Daily Post today. It's 7:23, and about time for us to jump into today's Extra Point, brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and everybody over at First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
You know, you should make some changes in your life in order to propel yourself forward, but you feel stuck and you're not sure what to do.
Today, I've got a few ideas that can make a difference for you, and it's next on The Extra Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Get 2 Pepsi 12 packs for only $8.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a Pepsi 12 pack for only $3.49 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See store for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get 2 Coke 12 packs for only $8.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
There have been a couple of times in my life and career that I wasn't at all sure of my next move. Circumstances were such that I just didn't know what I was going to do. I needed a process to help me shake loose and get on track. If you find yourself in the same situation, here are a few ideas that I hope will help you. Number 1. Read a book, maybe 2. One can be about your career field and the other on something different. When you're done, think about what you've learned and if it opens up new doors for you. This has worked for me and I believe in it strongly. Number 2, dig into your personal network and renew your relationships. Spend time talking with the people you know and who know you. Besides generally being good for the spirits, who knows what surprises, benefits, and changes can come from time invested this way. 3, be open to criticism. This one is tough to swallow for just about everybody at one time or another. If you truly want to change your life, you have to be willing to see yourself as others see you. Ask people to give their opinions. Yes, it's possible you may hear some things that are painful at first, but those moments allow you to get stronger. When I deliver a training course, at the end I ask my students to give an honest evaluation of their overall experience. What could I have done better? Would you have preferred more of this or less of that? After almost 20 years and more than 15,000 people I've worked with, I've been blessed to get a bounty of useful feedback that has helped to improve my work. 4, don't shy away from decisions. This is where the change gets fueled. The majority of people don't want to make decisions because of what? If you said fear, you're absolutely right. People fear decision-making because they are afraid of what might happen if they're wrong. Well, decisions are based on risk and reward. If you have no risk, then is the reward even worth the effort? If you work in someone else's company, accept this as absolute fact. Every CEO is looking for decision makers. It's a superpower and will take you far. And finally, number 5, think big but act small. And I recall being a bit confused when I first heard someone use that line. Think big but act small. And it's actually 2 separate conversations. 1, thinking big means stretching past your comfort zone, coming up with ideas that take you places that you've never been before. It means going for big goals. Too many people aim far lower than what they're capable of. Is that you? Can you admit to doing that? After thinking big, the second part is acting small, and that's the key to achieving what you're after. Some folks are idea machines, but never take action on them. If you want change, get busy and get your idea past the idea stage. Acting small means you put in the work. That's the extra point. Get out there and make something good happen today. Get some change going for you. For 93.3, The Ray Gibson Show, Guahan Insurance Services, and First to Wine Bank. I'm Jerry Roberts.
Change is bad.
Change is good.
It depends on who's driving. As our careers, our lifetimes, we've been exposed to one degree of change or the other, and every once in a while something will pop up, and you just go, man, it's just out of my paradigm. I can't fold my brain around it. But eventually you do, and you find out maybe things are going to be better with the change on the other side.
That's right.
Yep. You just got to. There's this thing that you got to punch through, and once you do, I think you're going to be all right. Jerry Roberts in the studio for today's Extra Point. We are working tomorrow, but not the next day. So Thursday.
Thursday we're off.
Yeah, we're off. Okay. So you can do whatever it is that you do on those midweek holidays. which is absolutely distressing because there's a part of me I'm going, yeah, it's going to be Wednesday, and then there's Thursday, and there's all these fun things that you get to do on Thursday, and it will feel at about 5 or 6 o'clock Thursday afternoon, it will have that same kind of Sunday at 5 or 6 o'clock feeling like, okay, we better start pumping the brakes on this because tomorrow's a school day. Yeah, we need to. I got to figure out how we can turn this into a 4-day work day or 4-day holiday. That I think is going to be the plan for the rest of the day. 7:29, 7:30 or so, and time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning. Guam's public debt nearly doubled between 2005 and 2017, according to a report issued last month by the U.S. Government Accountability Office. The GAO found that Guam's debt grew from 24% to 45% of GDP over that 12-year period, rising from $1 billion to $2.6 billion. New debt has primarily been used to refinance existing debt and fund new infrastructure projects. The largest amount of the debt is being held by the Guam Power Authority, followed by the Guam Waterworks Authority and the Guam Airport Authority. Although a general fund revenue increased during that time, the GAO report cites large pension liabilities, which, if left unaddressed, may hamper repayment of the debt. Guam's pension liabilities were $1.6 billion at the end of 2017, an amount that continues to pose a fiscal risk, according to the GAO report. The government of Guam raised concerns about some aspects of the analysis of its debt, but the GAO maintains that its analysis is correct, according to the report. In other news, a former Department of Corrections officer accused in a major drug smuggling investigation at the prison will not serve any time behind bars. District Court Chief Judge Francis Tadeko Gatewood yesterday sentencing 33-year-old Edward Crisostomo to just 12 months of home detention, with 6 days credited for time served, followed by 3 years of supervised release. Crisostomo was among several corrections officers and inmates accused in the 2017 prison contraband conspiracy. He pleaded guilty of being a drug user in possession of a firearm, a charge that carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Prosecutors, however, credited Crisostomo for cooperating fully with the investigation by providing information on DOC officers and prisoners who took part in the scheme to traffic drugs and other contraband into the prison. During his sentencing hearing yesterday, Crisostomo apologized to his family and friends and the people of Guam. Guam police helped a visitor who had just arrived on the island recover her bag containing a laptop and personnel items worth about $3,000. The woman's flight arrived early last Wednesday morning. She took a cab to her hotel, but after she checked in, she realized she left her bag in the cab. She tried for hours to track down the cab. Finally, she went to the Tumon precinct. Officers managed to track down the cab driver who brought the bag to the precinct. Guam Police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau says the officers were just doing their job, what they do on a regular basis, and that is helping people. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Oh. Best story on the radio all day. 7:32 in the morning, and that's news and headlines from the Guam Daily Post. iConnect time, said 7:32. Swing by an iConnect and ask them about great rates on mobile and internet plans, or call them at 888-8888.
Travel the world and then some with the 2 million United Miles sweepstakes from First Hawaiian Bank. Enter and you could win the grand prize of 1 million miles or be one of 6 other lucky winners. The world is big. Our prize is bigger. Enter at fhb.com/2 million miles. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Sweepstake starts on May 1st and ends June 30th, 2019. Open to legal residents of Guam and CNMI. Ages 18 years or older. Visit 2millionmiles.com for official rules. First Hawaiian Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
It's one of my favorites at Wendy's, the Berry Burst Chicken Salad. Fresh berries, feta, and grilled chicken. Like the spicy one better? Ask for it that way. Made fresh every day at Wendy's.
Attention homeowners, if you don't have a solar energy system on your roof from Micronesia Renewable Energy, now is the time to get one. MRE solar energy systems now come with battery storage for zero money down. This means that your home will have power even when the island power isn't available, like during power outages or during and after storms. The inconvenience of not having power for your home is a thing of the past. Don't be left in the dark. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
Sorry, completely distracted. There's a post here from Lady D, and I'm not sure exactly what it refers to. I think it refers to a guy in one of Kevin's stories that got off real easy over at the court. And Lady D says that's because he poops roses and is related to someone with connections. That's a T-shirt. It's a T-shirt, it's a bumper sticker, it's something. It's got to be some kind of a meme that we can apply to something. Right up there with, have you ever been Spartan kicked by a mermaid? Right? You get that line or this one here. He poops roses and related to somebody with connections. Just awesome. 7:34 in the morning on the Ray Gibson Show and portions of the program. Oh, is it time for traffic? What am I'm supposed to be doing? Did we already play the theme?
Yes, sir.
Wow. I think I'd pay better attention if the program has my name on it. Can we loop it again? Because I didn't get the thing. I didn't get the thing. Just in your head, just remember there's a big light over at the Kipua Circle, and it will blind you as you go by there. All right, do you have it? Is it there? Can you do it? You can't do it. You can't do it, can you? No, you can't. All right. Well, it doesn't make any difference. I'll just go ahead and start. Traffic starting to build up over at the intersection of 1 and 2. That's on the way into Big Navy in Sumai. Traffic up and down the Sinahanya area. Right at the intersection is beginning to slow down. Just pull into the gas station and go grab go grab something to eat, an empanada, and just wait it out. You'll be fine. Up and down Route 4, you might see a couple of other spots where traffic is moving slow. 8, 10, and 16, for whatever reason, is in ugly shape right now. Northbound Route 8 at the turn where the gas station is, and then it looks like it slows down in both directions in between the gas stations. And my guess is because the donuts are out at Crown Bakery. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Rest of Route 8 and 16 is looking actually pretty good. Route 16 and 10 is busy, and that's up and down traffic coming in from, you get the traffic on the airport side, the traffic on the Alligator Street side, and that's where it's starting to busy up. And just watch out for the intersections because those are the ugly ones right now. That's 7:36 right now. Traffic on the point.
Discover a new Galaxy. GTA introduces the new Samsung Galaxy S10 in 3 different sizes. The Galaxy S10 comes with cool new features like Power Share that allows you the ability to share your battery power with other devices. Or you can capture a wider world with its new camera featuring an ultra-wide lens for when you need to take pictures of the whole family. And with GTA handset payment option, you can take home a Galaxy S10 for $0 down. GTA, we start with you.
Gotta make that noise like I'm on the dance floor. Yeah, yo, show 7:36. Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore. And a couple of things before I jump into the rest of the 7 o'clock hour here. I'm a fan of the magistrate reports. I think everybody recognizes that. And you might be going, well, that's because, Ray, you play the part of a journalist. You play the role of somebody that's interested in news and current events on Guam. That's why you like to take a look at the magistrate report. No, it's some of that. But for the most part, there's a part of me that wants to be just how screwed up in the head some people are out there in the world. There's a guy that they called up over at the Retidian Mart up at the end of Retidian. And police officers got up there, met with Hawk Hee Lee, who said the front right passenger window on her 2014 BMW was damaged. You know, back in the 90s, that's what BMW stood for, was break my window. But anyway, Lee informed police that she reviewed security footage, and she knew the guy who broke the window of her car and where he lives. So they found Joseph, who explained that a male he knows as Onan came into the store with a bat and asked how much the beer was before leaving. Joseph told, guy, it depends on what brand and how much you're buying. You know, you just can't walk in. How much is the beer? You're going to get different answers, dude. Joseph told police he saw the male hit the vehicle's window with a bat from the security monitor. He said he went outside and yelled at Onan before he walked away. Naturally, the guy, did not chase him. I wouldn't. The guy had a bat. Police were able to figure out who the guy was, went up to him, and he emitted an odor of intoxicating beverage. As police were speaking with the defendant, another male pulled up and told police that the defendant was his nephew. And when asked what the defendant's name, the male said Onan, even though the guy said his name wasn't Onan because he was drunk. Where he got the beer from, nobody knows. And this is an interesting story to me because he is out on a pretrial release. I don't know what he did before, but this guy Onan was out on a pretrial release, and so there. Crystal clear, another crystal clear example of how the lax nature of our criminal justice system allows people that police have taken the time, trouble, expense, and effort to arrest. They go before the court. Court says, okay, you're in trouble, and go and sin no more, and we're going to have another trial for you eventually. What's the guy do? Goes and assaults a car with a bat. Then there's this story here about a Barbara Menno Hunt. Now, the other thing I like to do when I get magistrate reports, especially if it's a girl's name, is you want to see if maybe they've got some kind of presence on social media. You want to go to like Facebook and go, I wonder what this Barbara Menno Hunt looks like. Is it somebody that you'd look at and say completely? You look at the face, you look at the crime that they're guilty or being accused of, and you go, couldn't possibly be her. But anyway, there's a Barbara Menno Hunt who police pulled over. Because of I think this is no headlights. Yeah, it was at 2:15 in the morning, and a black Toyota Corolla is driving down the road with no lights on. Police, doing their job, pulled her over, and anyway, so they're looking at the car, and it's got one license plate number. Cop calls it in, and the guy at dispatch says, that's not the license plate number that goes with that car. And so Barbara was arrested, and she claims that she borrowed the car from her brother-in-law in order to get some food at the grocery store. She was unable to produce the vehicle's registration or any kind of driver's license or other identifying thing. Just rolling around out there with a car, I don't know, stolen, might not be stolen, definitely stolen plates. That's a thing that people are doing. You might see something happen, and you go, it's okay, I got the license plate number, and then you give it to the cops, and the cops will say, yeah, we got the license plate was stolen a couple of weeks ago. That's a degree of sophistication that our crooks have around here. 7:40 in the morning, and there's, of course, you get the people that get arrested, and they get put in front of a judge, and sometimes the rulings from the judge are kind of baffling. We saw that a few weeks ago in the case of a guy that shot my friend's dog. The dog's name was Pugwa. My friend's name is Nate, and he's back on the line. I think everybody lost their minds for a few minutes when my cousin Judge Berdalio said not guilty. It did not necessarily fit the boundaries of the crime that he was accused of, and so Mike's read was he's not guilty of that. And we thought that was the end of it. I thought that was the end of it. Nate, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning. Good to hear from you, and hope the move out is going well.
It's going swimmingly.
Do you still have? Because we're personal friends, so this is going to be biased in his favor, obviously. But just a thought. Now I saw Lexi put up all kinds of household furniture and goods and stuff that you guys are selling or otherwise trying to get rid of. Have you gotten rid of most of it?
Just about everything is gone. Like it's surprising what people will come and buy.
It's funny. I can hear it. I can hear it in the phone call. I can hear the echo in the room that you're in, where there used to be furniture. It's all gone now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, everybody's gonna miss you, but I hope that justice moves quick enough so that these new charges that appear to be applied are able to have some kind of an effect.
We're hoping so too. The Attorney General's office has been really trying to get these. They know that we are leaving Ireland as well, and so they've been trying to get these new charges filed and get an indictment before we leave Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
It's very kind of them. I know the Justice Department, justice on Guam sometimes moves a little slow, so it's nice that they're making this a priority.
I'm delighted that they're moving off in that direction as well. What do you are the nature of this second indictment that the Attorney General is going off on, and why is there the feeling that they might have something better this time?
Well, I think maybe the first indictment was a little rushed. It was it seemed pretty clear to everybody else that this is absolutely a crime and should be we should move forward with it as soon as we can. it ended up not working out that way. And so once the indictment was rejected by the judge, we've been in touch with the Attorney General's office, and they assured us that they were not giving up on this, and that they had some other things that they were going to try, and they were doing a little bit more investigation, and so they found a couple of other things that they could charge him with as well, including the unregistered firearms, which is a huge deal.
Right. All right. Well, if we fingers crossed, then maybe something is going to happen in this particular case. There doesn't seem to be any disagreement that he shot your dog.
Right. That seems to be the least questionable part about this.
Right.
He admitted to killing the cat, and then we have a witness that says that he killed the dog, and so nobody seems to really disagree about that. Which I hope the evidence can show will also confirm that. So it's these other charges that are kind of up in the air. We hope that we can get something out of them too.
All right, gotcha. Now, your animal and the cat, and there were other animals up in that neighborhood, pretty neighborhood. I mean, I've been up there at your place, a nice, secure, what feels like a secure location. And a nice place to raise some kids. It's amazing that there might have been somebody running around in that neck of the woods there and shooting animals.
Yeah, it's a great place for kids to be around. I have the neighborhood kids come over to my place, and we fix bikes and everything, and it's a great little community. And so having someone with the audacity to walk around with a firearm onto other people's property and then shoot animals is it's not just a little bit unnerving.
Are you aware of any plans that the Attorney General's office and the prosecutor in this case might be trying to get a different judge? Is that part of the plan as well?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about that, but it wouldn't surprise me based on the results that we had last time.
Right. Just do a little bit of judge shopping and see if we can get this in front of somebody else who might be a little bit more likely to see things in your direction.
Yeah, well, I also wouldn't put it past our attorney generals to have done a little bit better homework and filed things a little bit differently in case we do end up in front of the same judge. And on that same note, the territorial vet, Dr. Poole, has personally testified that this was indeed cruel, and so hopefully with that added, whatever judge we see we'll see things our way.
Yeah, I recall that seemed to have been missing from the last conversation.
Yeah, that was one of the key things that they needed to continue with charges this time is some documentation from him.
Well, the idea here is that animal cruelty is against the law, and that's the point of a meme that I think I shared, as well as a couple of other people shared online from the Attorney General's office, and that word needs to get out, and it needs to get out for Pugwa. It needs to get out for my brother's dog that managed to slip from the fence at the house, and that was the death penalty for the dog because he ran into somebody that shot him.
Right, exactly. A dog or any animal accidentally getting out of the yard or being someplace that they don't necessarily need to be. Dogs don't know property boundaries.
Yep.
And so if a dog is someplace they don't need to be, it shouldn't be a death sentence for them.
Exactly.
Especially if this dog has a collar and tags, and I highly recommend people get their dog chipped and register that chip so that if your dog is lost, they can track it down, figure out who you are when they find it.
Have you had the opportunity to see or make contact with with Gerald Cruz?
No. In the original indictment, there was a no contact order, and so he's not allowed to talk to me, and I don't particularly want to talk to him.
I imagine. Well, it was a tough row, and we hope that that justice is meted out in this particular case for Pugwa and the other animals and the families that have been victimized in this case. A lot of people think of a dog as, I know that there are people that think of a dog as, just a dog. It's 4 legs and is out there and does what dogs do, but dogs are like members of the family. I know people that consider their pets the same and love them the same way they love each other and children in the family. So something like this it would feel like a vicious murder.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of indescribable, and I don't have children yet.
Yet?
A month.
Yet? I was going to say, when's the baby due?
We're due in August, early August.
Early August. Oh, that's right around the corner.
Yeah, right. We're getting down to the wire here.
Did she tell you how much we were yelling at her when she climbed up on the roof of the house and we were trying to solve that water problem?
No, but it doesn't surprise me. There's no stopping her. If she gets something in her mind, she will do it, whether you tell her not to or not.
You got a badass chick there. 749, Nate, it's a pleasure talking with you, and I'm glad that the AG's office has got this, and I've got my fingers crossed that maybe this will spin up in time so that you guys see it before you head out.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Ray. It's always a pleasure.
All right, Nate, I'll see you soon. Well, maybe we'll do some trail this weekend. What do you say?
That'd be great.
All right, man. 8 o'clock in the morning, just a few minutes away. Nathan Mapson, the dad, for better or worse, of Pugwa, the dog that was shot by that fella. And like I said, it doesn't seem to be any disagreement. There doesn't seem any controversy over whether or not the guy shot the dog. You know, the guy shot the dog. It was just he just could not have that rap pinned on him, and the judge didn't see it that way. And so now the Attorney General's office, thankfully, is working another case in that direction. Keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on this case and see where this eventually ends up, because I think it's going to be. I think it could be one of those deals where maybe somebody fingers crossed. Maybe somebody will get punished enough that it sends out a message that there is a threshold for the way that we treat these animals that we share the island with. 888-825-5888-TALK is a big deal. Can I tell you about another big deal that I'm surprised I didn't get to it yesterday. And it's already the second hour, moving into the second hour of the show, and I haven't talked about it yet. But this, in my mind, is the only reason to look forward to Friday. Now, I'm normally a loving Friday guy. I've got a couple of people who said, hey, we got to get together, and it's going to be a Friday night, and it's going to be biblical, it'll be fun. All right, groovy. But that's not the thing that I'm looking forward to on Friday. You know what I'm looking forward to on Friday? No idea, though. No idea. None whatsoever. You just no clue. Stranger Things. The season 3 of Stranger Things is coming back. You're familiar with Stranger Things, the show, right? On Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah, you've watched it before?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit? Oh, you just had a baby.
I got a baby.
Yeah, it's hard to binge and stuff like that on baby time, because you're expected to at least make formula every once in a while and change a diaper or two, and I can't. They're about to slay the monster from under the underworld, the underneath. Right? You can't. Anyway, so Stranger Things 3 is coming out, and it's supposed to be the 4th of July in the States, which obviously be the 5th of July here on Guam, which is Friday. So this is what you can expect out of the Ray Gibson Show on Friday. It's going to be it's a frowny-free, no frowny face Friday, and we're going to go fast through stuff, because I'm going to want to get home, hit the nap as quick as I can, and then line up for Stranger Things season number 3 on that. And I'd already posted. I posted up on FB. I put the thing up there and says, if on the preview, on the button on the preview, and it basically said, if this doesn't smile, we can't be friends. If this doesn't make you smile, then I don't think I can be your friend. Because Stranger Things 3, in my mind, it's just such. I know sci-fi, horror, fantasy, whatever, all of that. But there's some great characters in that show. I mean, people that it's a neat thing about Stranger Things and a couple of other binge-worthy shows out there is, you see a bunch of characters that you line up to. You go, yeah. So in the meantime, I have been rewatching Letterkenny. And if where's that? Letterkenny is on Hulu, because I want to say it's an HBO show, and it's funny. But you have to listen fast.
It's very clever.
It's extremely, it's extreme. I must say, it is extremely clever and crisply written. You cannot get away with for once. I find myself rewinding on that one all the time. 888-825-888-TALK. All right, so yeah, is the point off too on Friday the 5th is asking. No, Rico Blancaflor, we are working on the 5th on Friday. We're only going to be off on Thursday because it's a holiday, and I suppose we could come to work, but why? you're going to be sleeping in. I don't know if there's going to be all that much news on Wednesday that won't wait until Friday morning. So, what's the thing? You just need somebody to tell you there's two big parties there. Here's the way there's two big parties. One's going to be at Paseo. The other one's going to be at MWR at Polaris Point. They're there. That's all you need to know. I think there are going to be fireworks at both of them. The one at Paseo is going to have a car show, and a couple of Mount Carmel stage band is going to be there. I think John Dank and a Vegas or originated reggae band is going to be playing over at the Polaris Point one. So, I don't know. I guess the only other thing that you got to do is make a determination on which one, is going to have the most accessibility to beer. Right? I think that's it. Now, there's at least one other event that kind of captured my imagination, and I don't know how many people are going to be looking at it, but there is a place, a beach spot on the 4th of July that is going to be having a flotilla.
What is this?
It's where you and, I don't know, 100 of your buddies go to Kmart and get something inflatable. And I said Kmart, not Playboy store, and get something inflatable. And then you take it to the beach and you recline or you lounge on this inflatable thing while you are, consuming adult beverages.
I think you just gave someone an idea. Bringing a blow-up doll to this thing.
It could be. I'm just saying. And so there's a lot going to be happening on Thursday, the 4th of July, and that's why I'm not coming to work. But I will be here, bright-tailed and bushy-eyed on when it gets to be Friday morning. So there was a couple other things in the table of contents, and it's one of those. I'm just kind of distracting myself today on all of this stuff. We got more news and headlines. We can talk about this PFAS thing because it's interesting. What I'm trying to find, and maybe Kevin knows, he might not, but I'm going to ask anyway. How much is this PFAS lawsuit worth?
I don't know.
Right?
Sorry.
I can't give you a hard time about that because I've been looking for it for the last 2 days. I can't find it. It's because I'm of the opinion here. Yeah, if you want to, you can be all pretendy that this is all about the health and is there something in the water that's making us sick?
Are you asking how much we can get from the company?
Yes. How much?
Well, all depends upon what the outcome is.
What's the payday going to end up being on this?
It all depends upon what the outcome is.
And how many other guys?
Some pretty big multinationals are under the gun. Though.
Exactly. I mean, DuPont, and we got 3M that are under the gun on this, and others that are involved. Do you wear hush puppy shoes?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
You have in the past, though. All boys of a certain age have worn hush puppy shoes. The company that makes hush puppies was using some kind of leather preservative or from 3M, I believe. And that was part of their manufacturing process, and they didn't know any better, and so when it's time to get rid of this stuff, they just kind of opened a valve in the back of the building and let it run into the rivers. They didn't know, and so now this company that makes, I think it's Wolverines. The Wolverine shoe manufacturing company is now holding the bag on a significant lawsuit, not just from the municipalities, not just from the community, but also from people with private wells in the mainland where that kind of thinking is fairly common. So you got these people and they've got these wells and they're doing the tests and they're coming up positive for these PFAS kind of chemicals. So what's their position going to be? Yeah, you know what? We are in the middle of this. Now they are going to participate in a lawsuit against the companies where they got those materials from, saying you put us in a position where we're basically poisoning ourselves. So this is going to be interesting, and I liken it to the tobacco settlement. And there are going to be communities all across the country that are going to be getting settlement checks from law firms that are associated with this lawsuit. Question is, how big are those checks going to be? I mean, are we talking about hundreds of thousands? Are we talking about in the millions? You know, do we have to demonstrate some kind of damages around here, which might be kind of difficult? As I'm looking at some of the other research, it is unclear what the nature of some of these health detriments are because of these polyfluoroalkyls that have been found in the water in some places. But it mirrors the same kind of health threats that are present from all kinds of other things in the environment. So this will be an interesting case to watch. The idea here is that we get in line with everybody else so that if there is going to be this massive settlement, if there are going to be significant checks that are getting written on behalf of these companies into communities like ours, that we get our fair share of all of that. And that's why we've got Adelup that is pressing on the legislature to move with speed here on the hearing of this bill. A bunch of senators yesterday said no to the emergency special sessions. We need to have a public hearing, and Kevin will read you their names probably in the next newscast. And there might be a couple in there that I was thinking are lunkheads. Well, maybe they're less lunkheads because at least in this case, they sat at the same side of the table as me and wanted to have some kind of a public hearing, and I appreciate that. 7:59 and change. Coming up, Fox News Live in the program. Also coming up a little bit after that, Kevin Kerrigan with the big stories. I don't have a Blake today, so we're going to see if I can sub in a couple of other sports guys so we can at least pretend to talk about sports for a little bit here this morning. Radio station KUSG Agana. Stand by now for Fox News Live.
Same story, different sides of the ocean. I'm Del Walters, Fox News. Mixed reaction to President Trump's historic visit to North Korea, becoming the first sitting U.S. president to step across the border separating the North and South.
There was criticism from Democratic presidential hopeful Tim Ryan, who said on Fox's Sunday Morning Futures that Kim tested missiles back in May.
You don't reward that kind of behavior with a visit to your country from the President of the United States.
Also, the president at the G20 said he would allow American companies to do business with Chinese tech giant Huawei. But House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy said on Fox that doesn't mean restrictions on tech secrets are lifted.
If you buy Huawei products, America will not share the information with you because we cannot trust where it will go.
The president plans a big July 4th celebration this week with a speech on the National Mall for the nation's birthday. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
And North Korea hailing that visit as a major victory.
North Korean state TV calling President Trump's meeting with leader Kim Jong-un an amazing event. A newsreader saying the leaders exchanged historic handshakes in a place known as a symbol of division, the village of Panmunjom on the North Korea-South Korea border. When the president stepped onto North Korean territory yesterday, he became the first sitting U.S. leader to do so. Talks over nuclear weapons are now expected to resume this month. Simon Owen, Fox News.
Fox's Tucker Carlson will have an exclusive interview with the president tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. They are playing with fire, the president talking about Iran, saying the U.S. will never allow Iran to get a nuke, Tehran breaching the stockpile limit of low-enriched uranium set under the terms of the deal. President addressing the situation from the White House just moments ago, once again reiterating that they are in breach. This is Fox News.
This is Ronnie. Ronnie is about to break his piggy bank.
Come on, piggy bank.
Ronnie wants to upgrade his smartphone.
And this piggy's gonna help me.
If Ronnie had signed up for GTA's handset payment option, he could have selected a new smartphone with an affordable monthly plan.
I could have what?
Exactly. Sign up for HBO at GTA and don't break the bank.
I'm sorry, piggy bank.
Terms and conditions apply. GTA, we start with you.
When it comes to power and performance, nothing compares to Dodge. And right now at Cars Plus and Mighty, you can save thousands on many Dodge vehicles in stock during our Dodge Performance Days. Like a new 2019 Grand Caravan SE, save $4,250 or save $6,150 on a new Durango SXT. Looking for more power? Take home a new Charger SXT Plus today for only $37,689 or save over $7,000 on a new Challenger GT. Get more power and performance at Cars Plus and Mighty during Dodge Performance Days. Cars Plus, driven by you.
A Facebook mail processing warehouse had to be evacuated, a bag of mail testing positive for the nerve agent sarin. Authorities checking to see if the test was a false positive. Hong Kong police using tear gas to clear a crowd of protesters, several hundred breaking into the city's legislature.
Angry anti-government protesters smashed their way literally into the city-state's main government building, Parliament Chamber. They were equipped with hard hats and gas masks. Once they got into that chamber, they started spraying graffiti. They ransacked desks. They basically occupied the place. As we saw when we were in Hong Kong last week, they were well organized, using social media and other means to communicate and move forward. We also witnessed last week firsthand police showing restraint. And in fact, the police let this whole thing happen for several hours. By about midnight Hong Kong time, that's noon Eastern time, the word went out from the police. They would disperse the crowds both inside and outside the parliament, and they used tear gas, they used batons, not a lot of violence.
Fox's Greg Palcoat reporting. We're learning more about the main suspect in connection with the shooting of Boston Red Sox star David Ortiz.
Police in the Dominican Republic say Victor Hugo Gomez, the alleged mastermind of the attack that wounded Boston Red Sox legend David Ortiz, offered to pay $30,000 for the shooting of David Fernandez, his cousin who sat alongside Big Papi at a restaurant in Santo Domingo last month. Officials add that Gomez had only paid $10,000 to people so far, issuing the order fearing that Fernandez would tell police he was in the Dominican Republic, blaming his cousin for an earlier arrest. Police have so far arrested 14 people in this case and are searching for others as Ortiz continues to recover in a Boston hospital from multiple surgeries. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
One person is dead in Georgia after being shot by police. Happened at an off-campus apartment complex at the University of Georgia. 39th officer involved shooting the Georgia Bureau of Investigations has looked into this year. I'm Del Walters. This is Fox News.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Hey, welcome to this Subway ad for the new club collection. How do you want it?
I'll take a book club.
Absolutely.
So, last week we sunk our teeth into Subway's meaty new release, the Steak Club.
I didn't finish it yet.
Oh, not again, Sandra. This week, it's the new Southwest Chicken Club, also by Subway. No spoilers, but there's a tasty twist.
Jalapeno cheddar bread and guacamole?
Sandra, get out. Subway, make it what you want.
Good ending.
Limited time only at participating restaurants.
We have some really great home loan programs, but did you know we have great business loans too? Every day we're working with companies to purchase equipment, to buy or build properties, or make tenant improvements. We offer letters of credit, working capital, and term loans, and we make all of our credit decisions here. Commercial loans, commercial banking from Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Viva Bank Pacific.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 7 minutes past 8 a.m. this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. A former Department of Corrections officer accused in a major drug smuggling investigation at the prison will not serve any time behind bars. District Court Chief Judge Francis Tadenko Gatewood yesterday sentenced 33-year-old Edward Crisostomo to 12 months of home detention with 6 days credited for time served, followed by 3 years of supervised release. Crisostomo was among several corrections officers and inmates accused in the 2017 prison contraband conspiracy. He pleaded guilty to being a drug user in possession of a firearm, a charge that carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Prosecutors credited Crisostomo for cooperating fully with the investigation by providing information on DOC officers and prisoners who took part in the scheme to traffic drugs and other contraband into the prison. During his sentencing hearing yesterday, Crisostomo apologized to his family and friends and to the people of Guam. By a vote of 8-6 yesterday, Guam's Democratic lawmakers rejected fellow Democrat Governor Lou Leon Guerrero's request to waive the public hearing requirement and act immediately on her bill authorizing the Attorney General to join in a lawsuit already filed against the manufacturers of polyfluoroalkyls, commonly known as PFAS chemicals. Following the vote, the governor in a statement said the legislature's lack of urgency on the issue is concerning. Every day of delay, she said, on this effort threatens our ability to join the ongoing litigation. The governor and attorney general had urged swift passage of Bill 2-1-S without a public hearing because the deadline to join the litigation is August 4th. PFAS chemicals are known as forever chemicals because they do not break down. In recent years, the governor has said several island water wells have tested positive for high levels of PFAS derivative chemicals. However, at the start of the special session yesterday, Vice Speaker Talina Nelson rose to say that Senator Sabina Perez, whose Committee on the Environment has oversight, has already scheduled a public hearing on the governor's emergency measure for July 9th. She made a motion to recess until after that public hearing. Voting against the governor and for the motion to recess were Democratic Senators Regine Biscoe-Lee, Kelly Marsh, Talina Nelson, Sabina Perez, Clint Rigel, Joe San Augustine, Amanda Shelton, and Therese Terlahi. That left Speaker Barnes and Senator Jose Terlahi the only two Democrats in support of the Democratic governor. They were joined by Republican Senators Will Castro, James Moylan, Luis Muñoz, and Tello Taitigui, who voted for the governor's motion and against the motion to recess. Senator Mary Torres had an excused absence. In a statement after the vote, Speaker Barnes said while she supports the governor's bill, the body has spoken, adding that lawmakers did not act in defiance of the governor, but were keeping their commitment to the people by holding the public hearing. We'll have more news after this.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about the food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
News time here at The Point is 11 minutes past 8 a.m. The Megabyte computer store in Tamuning was robbed early last Friday morning. Operations manager Jason Gregg says more than $30,000 in electronic goods were stolen, including laptops, cameras, tablets, and other items. Video of the break-in, both inside the store and outside the store, shows a man dressed in black with a black ski mask filling trash bags with merchandise from store shelves and then driving off towards the ITC intersection. The suspect is said to be 5 feet 3 inches tall, weighs about 155 pounds. He's described as being local with very distinct creases or wrinkles between his eyes. The vehicle he drove away in is a 1998 or 2000 silver Toyota Corolla that's heavily rusted, especially on the hood. It has tinted side windows and black scratches on the right rear bumper and the roof above the right rear door. Megabyte is offering a $500 cash reward for information leading to the man's arrest. Anyone with information about him is asked to call Megabyte or call the Guam Police Dispatch Line at 472-8911 or call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. Guam's public debt nearly doubled between 2005 and 2017, according to a report issued last month by the U.S. Government Accountability Office. The GAO found that Guam's debt grew from 24% to 45% of GDP over that 12-year period, rising from $1 billion to $2.6 billion of debt. New debt has primarily been used to refinance existing debt and fund major infrastructure projects on island. The largest amounts of the debt held by the Guam Power Authority, followed by the Guam Waterworks Authority and the Guam Airport. Although general revenue increased during that same period of time, The GAO report cites large pension liabilities, which, if left unaddressed, may hamper repayment of the debt. Guam's pension liabilities were $1.6 billion at the end of 2017, an amount that continues to pose a fiscal risk, according to the GAO. Government of Guam raised some concerns about some aspects of the analysis of its debt, but the GAO maintains its analysis is correct, states the report. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Right now with some weather.
I got plenty of weather. Yeah. It says isolated showers today, Kev. Mostly sunny with highs near 90 degrees. Winds out of the east-northeast, 7 to 9 miles an hour. Heat index values as high as 101 degrees. A lot of additional moisture in the air, and that's going to make things that much more uncomfortable later in the day. So find someplace with air conditioning, but make sure it's good air conditioning, okay? Just if you walk in and go, what happened here? Right? Because you'll do that. You open a door to someplace and you walk in, it's not that much cooler than it is outside. You go to somebody and say, hey, you put the air conditioning back on 72 or 68 or something like that. My butt flaps are sticking together, and it's your fault. I want to shop here long, but I can't do it because it's hot. Maybe that's the answer you got to give them. Sunset tonight, 6:52. Sunrise this morning at about 5:57. As I said, heat index going to make it feel like 101 degrees, so watch out for that today. 8:14, that's news and weather together here on The Point.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Let me see here, portions of the Ray Gibson Show being brought to you by guys over at, where's this, American President Lines, APL has got a new slogan today, global presence with a local home. Oh, that's nice. Micronesia Renewable Energy, though there's never been a better time to go solar. Battery storage available. If you want details, call them at 632-2613, and they will take you through that process. And the guys over at Cars Plus, where they're celebrating the Summer of Jeep. Sale ends at the end of July, so you've got time to get in there and do a test drive on the Jeep Wrangler. How about a Compass? How about a Cherokee? How about the Grand Cherokee? Where do you find them? You can only find them at Cars Plus in Mighty.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data-to-Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data-to-Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Dude, thanks, Jared. Appreciate that. 2 endless garden bars, a couple of tasty entrees, and a dessert you can share for one terrific price. It's 2-for-1 Tuesdays at Ruby Tuesdays. Available all day, every Tuesday for a limited time. It's a terrific value, $25.99 at Ruby Tuesdays. I want to say a shout to the guys over at Take Care, sponsors of the Ray Gibson Show, and Wendy's, where you can grab your own Wendy's Berry Burst Chicken Salad with fresh berries, feta, which is a kind of cheese, and grilled chicken, which is a kind of protein. Find out. Make it fresh every day at Wendy's.
Morning talk that matters. It's the Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Online this morning, as is Jess Slim Tiaco. I see Levon Guerrero Meno and Emmett Tanya Affligui Conception. Lanya Tanya, as we used to say. Denise Legaspi, that's Lady D, and Lisa St. Augustine online. Melissa Salas Akimoto and Tommy Martinez Aguero, still listening out in the States. Lady Shaliza Sagala. I have not seen that name before, but I'm really glad that you were there. I'm here, and I'm glad you were there. Ron and Cindy De La Rosa are online, and Rick Leone, Phil Schraggy from the Micronesian Mall is hanging out with us this morning. That's good. Who else? Sherry Lynn DeFantorum and Loli Kamet. Chris Chip is online. So is Jeff Jones, Renee Lau, Lynn Perez, Manissa Flores, and others all chiming in this morning, one way or the other, on all of the big issues that we have managed to be talking about in the last couple of minutes. I promised there was a guy, and I promised I was going to read a thing that he sent me on the Facebook, so I'm going to see if I can maybe pull that up again. There it is. I found it. Because it's the sporty section of the program here. Well, maybe I can't call it up. I'm trying to read it, but I put it in the gallery, and it's very, very small. Oops. Sorry. I'll see if I can work on that. He's got 5K, 2K that's going to be coming up in just a little bit. 8:18 in the morning, and it's time for Sports with Blake. And Joe's going, but there's no Blake. Where's the Blake? Yeah, that might be a little bit trickier this morning. Blake's got a family thing. He's got a baby thing that he's got to take care of. So I don't anticipate that he's going to be within the sound of my voice. Does that mean that there is no sports other than taking a look at the back page of the Guam Daily Post and checking out the 5K information? Yeah, probably not. We've got the Tautamona 2K 5K that is going to be going on Saturday at GPO. I like GPO races, by the way. There's something cool about them. I've told you about the route before. You come out of GPO and then you head towards Marine Corps Drive. Nice little jaunt down to the south, and you're feeling really groovy, and you make that turn over by Phil's Bank, and you're going, this is awesome. And then you realize, when did this become an uphill? When did this? Because you don't feel it when you're in your car. When you're driving in between Bank Pacific and say Payless, you don't feel the incline. Trust me, it's there. And then you're going to make that turnover at Payless and you make your way towards where St. Anthony is. A little bit more of a noticeable incline. And you're going, but there's a downhill. Here comes the downhill. Yeah, for a second. And then it's a climb back up to the old Dedzima where First Federal is. And then you finally get some downhill back at GPO. But keep something in your tank, because you never go back in the way you came out. You need to go behind Kings and behind the backside of that area, and then you come in over by Ross, and then you finally make it back. 3.1 miles. It's a perfect 5K, and it's going to be over there. So if I haven't talked you out of it, then good for you. There is going to be the Guam Running Club's 46th Spirit of 76, the 46th running of the Spirit of 76, 6.7-mile run. I've been in the club long enough to be able to refer to this as the new course, because the old course, the way it works now is you basically run into the pipeline at Agana Springs, and you get to almost literally a guy's house, and then you turn around. It's just after that. There's a bunch of rolling hills in there, and you get to about where this guy's house is, and then you turn around, you go back the way you came. In the old days, when I first started running the 6.7-mile run, you ran all the way through the pipeline that comes out on the side of Fidelity Enterprises on Route 8. Oh, wow. And then it's back down into Agana where you started at the old swimming pool is the way that worked. But they had to make modifications because there was construction in the area, and they just never made it. They never changed it back. Primarily because I think everybody likes that downhill from the Sinahanya 76 that takes you in. So you got that going. Those are the two big deals that are taking place in the next couple of days in terms of actual sports. Back page of the Pacific Daily News, got a bunch of tennis players that are going off to the SPG. One of them, Mason Caldwell, I know, who has been playing tennis since he was as tall as the racket, and he's going to be going and representing Guam in that one as well. University of Guam's basketball team, the women's basketball team, has signed Shania Bulala from Ukadu High School. She's going to be playing for them on their. I know that they've got these teams over at the university, but who do they play? Is there like a GCC team that they play? Is there a Navy team or an Air Force team? Thad Missile team? I never know, because I always talk about, oh, you've signed so-and-so and we signed such and such, and I'm going, for what games are you playing in this one? I don't know. Simon Sanchez and I, a little bit earlier, talking about a different kind of sports activity that is taking place. It is got to be the 20th running of the Father Duenas Alumni Tournament. Now, you can go to this even if you did not attend Father Duenas. If you are a Duenas graduate, congratulations. I believe that you get in for absolutely free. Ray Gibson, Father Duenas class of 1980, and I've been to those maybe once. But apparently one of the big attractors is, you've got grudge matches between, your class and whichever class it was that you hated when you were at Father Duenas. So you can still get some cool grudge matches going on. But the other thing is apparently unlimited access to food and beer of one kind or another over at Father Duenas. So that will be working in your favor as well when you swing by there. I don't know exactly when it's taking place, because, they don't call me for these things a lot. They call me when they can't find anybody else. But Dyron wants all of the class of 80 guys to know that that's what's going to be taking place, and that's among the things that are going on. Do you know of any sports activities that are taking place here in the next couple of days that might be of interest to our listeners?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I'm looking around and searching in the studio to see if there's anything in here that I might want to be able to include in our sports report. I thought, we might be able to get Cosendo on the line. Can't find him again? All right, because Conquer is coming up.
Yeah.
Conquer is going to be happening in a little bit. I want to say is it not this weekend? It's the 17th, I think, is that weekend is going to be taking place. And I'm supposed to participate in it one way or the other, and I forgot how. But anyway, that's happening. Go to conquerguam.com or search for Cosendo on Facebook, Kazendo, and get details on how you and the team might be able to get into this. They've got special rates, if not free, for youngsters to participate in all of that. So I think that's going to be happening. Now, there was one other deal, and I'm looking to. I got a note on Facebook yesterday. Very close to a personal friend of mine, Catherine Cruz Norton. You know her, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we've been buddies for a long time. She works out. She's athletic. I work out. I'm athletic. And she says, I found something that would be perfect for us to attend. And so she's going to go, and she invited me to it on Facebook. It is, and it's going to be at the end of the month, a stand-up paddling yoga thing.
Wow.
And now, from what I can gather, and what I can gather was just reading the invite on the online, and looking at the picture, is you've got people on their stand-up paddling boats. What is the point of that? And then you do yoga. Now, I cannot think. I really pondered this. I cannot think of any other activity for which I am less qualified than that. Because I don't own a stand-up paddle board. I resisted the temptation. I'd seen it. I'm like, see out there, and you get all these people, and they've got their stand-up paddle boards, and they're going back and forth and two-on. Look, unless on day one you come out with rock-hard abs, no, I'm not down for that. Because otherwise, you know what it looks like? Work. It looks like work, and I don't want to draw too many aspersions towards it. But I'm just kind of curious. Is because I see people on their stand-up paddleboard and they're still fat, and I'm going, maybe that's not the cardio that you're looking. This is not the cardio you're looking for. So I don't, I'm sure there's somebody. This is not my way of trying to get a free paddleboard, by the way, from somebody that says, no, Ray, you really got to try it. If you tried it, you'd understand what the attraction is. That's not the point of the conversation. If it works for you, then lovely, but I don't know that it would be my thing. I saw a guy last Friday, what I was telling you, last Friday, I'm on the beach with some friends, and there's the sunset. And I swear to God, there was a guy in a paddleboard who was going back and forth just because he knew he was going to be in every picture that got taken of the sunset. Hey, dude, next time you do that, suck it in.
The silhouette man.
Yeah. Just go back and forth. Is it down yet? No. Okay, I'll go back. I'll go back towards the Nico. Is it down yet? No. Okay, back towards the Hilton. So, but imagine doing that now, and at the same time get involved in yoga. Now, I'm down for yoga. You know why? Yoga pants. That's it. That's the whole thing. Yoga pants. So there is a possibility, Catherine Cruz Norton, that I might attend this deal that you have invited me to and participate from shore.
You know, there's this thing called beer yoga. I think would be more suited for you.
Right? Where does that meet?
I've seen it online.
All right, so my friend Maka is writing me, stand-up paddling is boring, but we go surfing at the reef because we can catch waves on the longboards, but going back and forth is boring. The only other time I'd use my stand-up, if not surfing, would be to reach a spot where we can go fishing. Do they have that with coolers? Do we have a stand-up paddler with cool? I'm just asking. I'm just, it's if that's your bag, okay, but it ain't mine. Yes, she says, we bring beer. Very, very good. All right, could be convinced to go out there and do that kind of beer / fishing / almost surfing kind of stand-up paddling. But I don't know. But thanks. I appreciate the invitation to go and attend that anyway. 8:28 in the morning, and you know what? I think we managed to kill the requisite amount of time for talking and pretending to talk about sports, even without Blake. He'll come in tomorrow, and we'll talk about some other stuff. The only other one that is out there that is of any interest to me at all, and it has nothing to do with the sport of soccer. It's that the whole back and forth. Who is USA playing now? It's Britain, right? That they've got to play for the Women's World Cup?
Beats me. I don't know.
All right, so when we return, Kevin and I will get back to the conversation about these PFASs. There's an urgent need for Guam to get involved in this class action suit against these companies for the purposes of recovering some kind of money in these lawsuits. And I was looking around, and I think I finally found, Kev, a story or two that might shed some light on just exactly what is at stake and why it's at stake. The story from Quartz online magazine, QZ.com. PFOA, U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found PFOA in the blood of nearly every person they tested. In the United States, PFAS contaminates the drinking water of about 19 million people in 43 states. Culpable companies like DuPont and 3M knew of the potential health effects and chose not to make their findings public. Today, studies link elevated exposures to PFAS to, get this now, heightened cancer risks, infertility, developmental delays. One study found that young men living close to a PFAS site in Veneto, Italy, had, I'm not making this up, I'm reading it from the web, so it must be true. One study found that young men living close to PFAS site in Veneto, Italy, had smaller penises and lower sperm counts. I'm going to ask the question, who came up with that part of the study? Because you would think that they'd want to be looking at, I don't know, what's the condition of heart and liver, all of the internal organs, and give me some blood numbers, and we'll do urinalysis and those kinds of things to see what the internal effects of all of this. Oh, and by the way, let's measure their penises. Let's take a look. We'll go ahead and measure. What do you want to use? A tape measure, a ruler? What do you have in mind here to measure this? And by is the other question, by what standard were they measured against? I think I better stop there. It's 8:30, and headlines coming up next with the amazing and incredible Kevin Kerrigan.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
And there it is for the Guam Daily Post headlines with Kevin Kerrigan. Good morning.
Good morning, Ray. Good morning, Guam. Half a day. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, the attorney for retired Guam police officer John Topazna Montanonia, who is accused of jury tampering and drug possession, has filed a motion asking that Chief Judge Francis Tadenko Gay would be disqualified from hearing his client's case. Defense attorney Jay Areola said Judge Gatewood has already indicated her bias and prejudice against his client. Montanonia is accused of influencing the jury in the drug trial of Raymond Martinez and Juanita Mosier. That couple were accused of trying to smuggle 8 pounds of meth into Guam from California. Their case went to trial in district court on Guam twice, and twice ended in a mistrial after the jury failed to reach a unanimous verdict. Prosecution moved the case to California, and then the couple ended up pleading guilty to drug distribution charges. Yesterday in court, arguing for the judge's disqualification, Attorney Areola pointed out that Judge Gatewood presided over both Martinez-Mosier trials, and she is a potential witness now in Montanonia's trial. She knows who all the jurors were and knows what was going on during that trial, said Areola. Areola also challenged the additional drug charges against Montanonia, saying the government lacks evidence that Montanonia possessed or distributed any drugs. Montanonia has been placed on home detention until his trial in August. His next hearing has been set for July 15th. The Megabyte computer store in Tamuning was robbed early last Friday morning. Operations manager Jason Gregg says more than $30,000 in electronic goods were stolen, including laptops, cameras, tablets, and other items. Video of the break-in shows a man dressed in black and wearing a black ski mask over his face. He was seen filling trash bags with merchandise from the store shelves and then driving off in the direction of the ITC intersection. The subject is said to be 5 feet 3 inches tall, weighs about 155 pounds. He's described as being a local man with very distinct creases or wrinkles between his eyes. The vehicle he drove away in is a 1998 or a 2000 silver Toyota Corolla that's heavily rusted, especially on the hood, has tinted windows and black scratches on the right rear bumper. Megabyte is offering a $500 cash reward for information leading to the man's arrest. Anybody with information is asked to call Megabyte or call Guam Police at 472-8911 or Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. Guam Police helped a visitor who just arrived on the island last week to recover her handbag containing a laptop and personal items worth about $3,000. The woman's flight arrived early last Wednesday morning. She took a cab to her hotel, but when she checked in, she realized that she'd left her handbag in the cab. She tried for hours to track the cab, but finally she went to the Tumon precinct. Officers managed to track down the cab driver who brought the bag to the precinct. Guam Police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau says the officers were just doing what they do on a regular basis, and that is helping people. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Okay, got it. Now, I did, before we get into the iConnect time, don't lean into that too hard there, Joe. I did find in that story from QZ.com where they were talking about small Italian penises as a result of the PFASs that might have been found in that area. Again, some of you are statisticians and understand how that study might have worked. It goes on to say towards the end of the story, New Hampshire joins a growing list of litigants. New York and New Jersey have ongoing lawsuits against 3M, DuPont, and other companies who manufactured and used PFAS compounds. In 2017, DuPont and its spin-off Chemours settled a suit with some 3,500 residents in Ohio and West Virginia. In the settlement, Kevin, they agreed to pay $671 million for polluting an area around a manufacturing plant in Parkersburg, West Virginia. $671 million. Do you see the dollar signs in the eyes now?
Drop in the bucket for DuPont.
Right. But can you imagine how many problems around here we could solve if we got in line on this multi-jurisdictional lawsuit and we started seeing checks that big?
But wouldn't there be a requirement to go to individuals rather than the government?
Yeah, don't know in that case. We'd have to. That's the one where we find the lawyer that is going to be handling the case and saying, how do we get in? Do we get in as the island of Guam? Do we get in as the government of Guam? Do we get in as individuals?
Decades before we see it.
It'll be decades. Yeah, 8:36, as it was with the tobacco settlement. At 8:36 in the morning, 888-255-888-TALK. That's my number. 888-8888 is iConnect's number. Or look for him on the World Wide Web at iConnectGuam.com.
Travel the world and then some with the 2 million United Mile sweepstakes from First Hawaiian Bank. Enter and you could win the grand prize of 1 million miles or be one of 6 other lucky winners. The world is big. Our prize is bigger. Enter at fhb.com/2 million miles. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Sweepstake starts on May 1st and ends June 30th, 2019. Open to legal residents of Guam and CNMI. Ages 18 years or older. Visit 2millionmiles.com for official rules. First Hawaiian Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Am I talking? I talk now? Yuka Hachinoma's online. As is Angelica Uzoa. Nice to have you along. Is there traffic today? Hold up. Let me check. Let me look and see. Maybe there is going to be something that's going to be on the road. My guess is it's not, unless there's an accident around here. Nobody told me about anything. So it looks like it's going to be just traffic around the intersections at most of the spots on Island 1 and 2. Oddly, running fairly clear today, and I keep waiting for it to busy up, but it hasn't yet all morning. Maybe the commander's on vacation or something like that. Right around the Navy Hospital, you might see a little bit of business working through there, into and out of the downtown Agutnia area. About the only place that's going to slow you down is that spot, like I said, in between Pokey and Venue. That isn't looking all that great. And a little bit of traffic on Roy T. Demion Street. Hard to tell when it's moving slow there, unless you've actually got some kind of a gizmo. It's actually northbound traffic. Somebody moving slow. Don't know why, but you know what it could be? It could be just one of those old people live along route Roy T. Demion Street that drive at 14 miles an hour. And how do I know they exist? Because I was behind the guy yesterday. He's going 14 miles an hour on Roy T. Demion Street. It's okay. You can go a little bit faster on that roadway. 8, 10, and 16 looking all right now, as is as Route 10 and Route 16. A little bit of traffic on Harmon Loop Road. Not too far away from the Cost Shoe Less, and traffic on either side of the Micronesia Mall is looking a little bit busy this morning. It's 8:39, and that's right now traffic here on The Point.
Hey, it's Mom. Somebody forgot to thaw the chicken, so meet us at Chili's for 2 for $25. Oh, and congratulate your sister for making the basketball team. She's thrilled. Love you. See you at Chili's.
Enjoy 2 full meal combos for $25. An appetizer, 2 mouth-watering entrees like our crispy chicken breast, smoked barbecue quarter leg, or smoked jalapeno cheddar sausage. Served with corn on the cob and french fries. 2 bold combos for $25. A full-on meal deal available nightly for a limited time. Together, we Chili's.
Right. I'm with you. It's 20 away from, 9 o'clock in the morning, 888-8255. Got Mary Rhodes coming in a little bit later on. She's going to spend some time talking about ideas that they've got in the GHRA. And we spent a little bit of time with Blake talking about the tip credit. And that's something that GHRA would like to see restored on behalf of the growing number of restaurants and bars that we've got in this town. And, it was a conversation that I had with kind of, I don't want to say an economics guy, but he knows his way around certain industries and the way the finances work, and not necessarily expressing grave concerns about what's happening in the marketplace. Retail locations that are more and more becoming retail food locations. Fine dining, we used to call that back in the day. And you'll note, as many are today, front page of the PDN, Red Lobster welcomes their first customer. Post has got the same thing. Where Red Lobster is open now. And you know what? It has become to the point where there are so many new restaurants, and I haven't eaten at all of them. I haven't eaten them. Have you been to Olive Garden yet?
Yes.
Is it good?
It's good.
You know,
it's a lot. Good? It's a lot of food.
Okay. All right. So I've not been there yet.
Portions are huge.
I had no idea where at Tumon Sands it was until I walked in the back doors and go, oh, that's where it is. And it was already crowded. It was like 6:30. The place was already crowded on a Sunday night. So all right. So a lot of people, but I haven't had the chance to go eat there yet. There is what's the Pizza Kaya at the end of Tumon, just before you hit the hill, right?
Under Tourist Nightclub.
Yeah, have you been there? What's that?
No, I haven't been
Don't
there.
give me the location references by which strip joint it's under. Oh, you know the place. Yeah, no, it's under Vikings. Shut up.
I haven't tried it, but it looks good.
Don't say that in front of my chick. What's the matter with you? You know, the one next to Club USA. Shut up. But anyway, yeah, that one over by, what did you say the name was?
Tourist nightclub?
Tourist night. Is that where that is now?
Well, it used to be.
What's under Foxy's?
Back in the day.
Anyway, so no, there's all these. I haven't had a chance to eat there. I know the owners. And they're telling me all the time, well, you got to come by, and you got to eat the thing. And I'm going, no, okay, I will. And I've not had a chance. So all these places that are opening up, and I haven't had a chance to go in there. But the point of the conversation here is that there's all of these places that are opening up, and they're hiring a lot of people. But what kind of wages are they hiring at? I mean, obviously, you know, there can only be one guy in charge of the Wi-Fi network at the restaurant, and we might pay him a little bit extra because he knows how to turn it off, count to 5, and then turn it back on. Right? He's the only one that knows how to do that, so he might get a little bit of extra on this, as opposed to other jobs that could be coming to Guam that will demand higher salaries. That's the one I'm worried about. So there we go. What's that? Somebody online saying not as good as Tommy's in Agania. I haven't been to Tommy's either. I don't know. Can I tell you how many times I've eaten at what's the name of the place? Not Kitchen Lingo. But they own the place down in by the Curry House up here. Oh.
Pika's Cafe.
Pika's, yeah, Pika's. How did I forget Pika? I've never eaten at Pika's. The one up here in Upper John, never eaten there. There's a window of opportunity to get in there that may only be 3 minutes long to get a seat. If you're there too early, we're not open. If you get there too late, the place is already just jammed. So I've never eaten there. The little one that they have down in Tumon, you know, I've done that one. You stand in line, but I've done that one. So, but that is the point that I'm getting to. Is it just yeah, I live a sheltered life. There's just a lot of places to go, and I worry about these the kids that we've got working there, because they're making minimum wage, maybe and a few dollars in tips, and I just don't see how they're going to be able to parlay those salaries into being able to own a house on Guam one of these days. I think what Eddie Calvo used to refer to as the Guamanian dream, I worry is going to be just inaccessible for so many people. Yeah, I got a job, and the wife's got a job, or the husband's got a job, but between the two of us, we still ain't making enough money to be able to meet the requirements of the bank for even the 80%. So I don't know how we're going to be able to get to everything else. Closing costs, move-in, furniture, all of those things. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's a little bit more difficult. And while I'm delighted that we've got all these franchise restaurants and all of these places where you and I can go and burn off the color on our credit cards, I worry that there's a lot of these places, you know, developments, subdevelopments that are getting built up right now that are just going to be inaccessible for folks to live and to move into one of these days. 8:45 in the morning. He's back.
That's right. Yeah, it's so interesting that you brought this topic up because, as you know, I did a survey that followed the survey done by the Federal Reserve Board on the financial health of the American household. I took a lot of questions they asked, and I asked them here on Guam when I was preparing my testimony for the legislature on minimum wage, and the numbers are frightening. You know, when you look at the United States, 1 out of 5 families can't pay their bills, or 1 in 5 adults can't pay his bills in the months due. Here on Guam, it's 63% of people can't pay all their bills due in the months due. So out of that 63%, 75% are juggling their bills. 25% are dependent on financial assistance from the family.
Sure.
That's one. The second one that was very upsetting is that about 64% in the United States, 40% of workers can't afford a $400 emergency out of their resources. They either have to borrow money or they have to sell something. Here on Guam, it's 63%.
Yeah, I'm sure. I can see it. I can see it. I mean, we've got some really outstanding young people out there. They've got the drive, they've got the ambition, but there are just no jobs around other than selling something in a retail store at one of the malls or selling some retail food at the malls anymore. And these pop-up locations, where's the next set of medium, middle of the road jobs that will allow people to be able to, I don't know, have a little bit more elbow room when it comes to their obligations.
They're not going to be on Guam because Guam doesn't create middle-class jobs. Well, another question I added to my survey is: are you planning to move? Or are you actively taking steps to move? And right now, 30% of our workforce is either planning to move or has already taken steps to move to another location. And when I was doing the surveys, right off the bat, in the first 10 people I talked to, 3 of them have already committed to moving. One's moving to Anchorage because after spending 2 weeks in Anchorage with his brother, he determined Anchorage, Alaska is cheaper than Guam, and Anchorage is considered like one of the top cities in the top 20 based on cost of living, expensive, and he considers it cheaper than Guam. Another family is moving to Utah, so we're losing a school teacher this year as they're moving to Utah. And another family, this city just popped up on my radar, Albuquerque. We're starting to see people moving to Albuquerque. Something to do with Amazon and Tesla, having massive job openings over there. So here on Guam, contrary to what people say, education is not the answer, because what's happening is the people that are leaving are the ones that got
the education
effort in their education.
they did okay at school.
Yeah, they did great. And when they got out, a perfect example is one of my nieces. She got her accounting degree. All she could get here on Guam was bookkeeping, and now she's in Las Vegas as the charge of accounts for a small restaurant chain there.
Yeah.
She couldn't get one here.
Yeah. And it's not, it's anymore. There's so many locals that live Guamanians that live in Vegas. It's not like you get, homesick. You just go over to someplace up in Seattle. You go to the Eagle Lodge up Seattle on the 21st of July, and there will be a big liberation party that will not be all that different than the liberation parties that we have here on Guam.
When I was, one of my last consulting jobs was Santa Ana, California. And when I was driving down Harbor Boulevard, heading over towards where the location was, I saw a restaurant, and it was the Chamorro Fiesta Bowl. So I stopped in there, and, about 2/3 of the people are ex-Guam residents that are now living and working in Santa Ana, Costa Mesa, Newport area. And it's a huge place. They had like maybe 40 tables, and it was well packed.
Wow.
That nostalgia. And then there was on the drive-in diners and dives, there was a Chamorro restaurant up in Seattle that was doing well. So we're seeing, I can't remember his name. He did that study on the expats from Guam, and there's like 360 people with Guam roots living in the United States. So we have more Guamanians in the mainland than we have here in Guam, but that's accelerating, and this is the part that scares me. Our young people with their highest income potential ahead of us that we taxpayers educated at great expense are leaving and paying their taxes in other states. And then we have the upper end, which are retirees who are selling their homes and moving to places where they have a higher cost of living. So what's happening is the tax base and the debt base is getting divided up on a smaller and smaller group. Already the legislature is talking about redoing every fee of government in Guam because they haven't been increased since 2008. Well, 2008, we had an economic collapse. It wasn't good to raise fees back then, but we never recovered from the economic collapse.
And then we've got, it doesn't seem like, with all these people leaving, it seems like the population should be getting lower, but it isn't. It's we've got population, we've got inbound populations that in many cases don't have the skills or the education.
Yeah, they're not bringing skills and they're not bringing assets. For Hawaii has a different problem. their resident population is leaving, but the millionaires and billionaires and the well-to-do from Asia and Hawaii are coming in and buying all the condos and everything. That's why the cost of housing in Hawaii is just skyrocketed. But there's a new proposal to tax empty houses because you look at Kaka'ako, and they did a survey there. Well, it was what they did is at 8 o'clock at night, they counted how many units in 4 towers had lights on. And it was like 8% of the units had lights, and 92% of the units were dark. And I understand that because when I lived there and they put up the Banyan condo, 90% of the time that condo was empty because it was owned by Canadians, Japanese, South Koreans, Taiwan.
Yeah, timeshares.
Every couple of years.
Yep. Well, I feel like sometimes we're headed in that direction. I worry after these kids. Like I said, there's some bright kids that are working on tables, and I hope that that becomes something temporary for them. This is another thing that you need to look at here as you're going out to bars and restaurants and that kind of scene is start asking some of these people how old they are. You're going to get your fair share of 19 and 20-year-olds. You also get your fair share of waiters, waitresses that are in their 30s.
Well, you go to fast food restaurants. Half the people in fast foods are in their 40s and 50s working behind the counters.
You got to either skill them up or find the jobs to match the skills that they've got. 8:53. I'm going to run. Get to Marquez on line 2 here. All right.
All right.
Have a great day. This This the other Governor Leon Guerrero this morning. It's 8:53. Marquez, Ava. Buenas. What's on your mind?
Hey, man, I remember you when you used to work for KUM a long time ago.
Maybe 35 years ago was when I was at KUM. Yeah, that is a long time ago. What have you been doing since then?
Oh, I was in the Air Force, things like that.
Right on.
I'm a veteran, 28 years, United States Air Force, but I also was with the Guam Air National Guard. We have a Red Horse unit. I was their unit training manager. We have very skilled construction people, civil engineering, everything. Both Filipino, Chamorro, Americano, all of them. And we can train our own people. We just need to elevate the wages and elevate the prestige of what it means to be a master electrician, a master plumber, a master mason, a master carpenter. All of that, and we have the skills here.
Well, I'm glad to hear that we've got the skills, because I think we've got the jobs for them that they can fill those places. I don't disagree with you on the wages. I think about what it costs, what some of what we are paying locals to do in some of these positions, and I think we need to do a better way of making that comparison between what they're making in the private sector here and what they'd be getting out of town. Hey, we got to get together soon. You and I know some of the same people on the Red Horse side, and certainly the family support groups, on both sides of our families are working hard to keep you guys. What's the word I'm looking for? Taken care of when you're deployed.
Oh wow!
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you pretty soon. Have a good one. We'll get together on this 8:55 in the morning. To get only GovGuam employees will stay. LOL. There's that, right? Because they got the money coming in. Only GovGuam employees going to be sticking around. The government needs to cut down the size of the administrators and forget the PARI system in order to survive. Chris has moved from the Philippines. Thinking great? Yeah, many in Guam things are great, but can't afford a box that a Maytag freezer comes in. In the mainland, I can live like a king. It's just the people. Also, Lady D says, repeal the taxes that you threw at us. Keep dreaming, babe. Keep dreaming. That's never going to happen. That's because I told you they're going to get used to it. They're going to get used to it, like addicts. Look at all this extra money coming in from this 1% increase in the Guam and in the business privilege tax. Give that up. I can't give it up now. I've already spent it for the next 5 years. We stuck it in the budget. I'm already thinking 5 years ahead on where I'm going to be able to use that additional $25-30 million a year. So there's that. But be cognizant that there are changes. Everybody going through. Jerry Roberts talking about change this morning. This is interesting. There are 3 insurers in Guam, Saipan, and Papua New Guinea that have been taken over by a company out of Korea. And it is possible that this is an insurance company that maybe you do business with. South Korea's non-life insurer DB Insurance is set to acquire 3 units of Century Insurance Company operating in Guam, Saipan, and New Guinea. The company announced Monday that it has signed a contract with the parent company, Tan Holdings. Yes, that Tan Holdings, to take over an 80% stake in each of the 3 CIC units. They signed that on June 26th at the Hyatt. Acquisition is expected to help DB Insurance expand its presence in the global market. The non-life insurance company has had a branch on Guam since '84 and will merge that business with CIC. They acquired in New Guinea because there's a great growth potential in a relatively small insurance market there. Tan Holdings goes on to say mid-sized conglomerate based in Saipan runs 18 subsidiaries engaging in various businesses, including logistics, energy, real estate, retail, energy, and non-life insurance on Guam, the U.S., and the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana. So be on the lookout for potential changes with those companies. If you are doing business with them, it looks like there's a significant investment being made by DB Insurance Company out here in this part of the world. Closing in on 8:58. And coming up in the next hour, as I said, my friend Mary Rhodes going to be coming in talking about wages and things that are happening in the hotel and restaurant industry here on Guam. But one thing that it might talk about in the first part of the hour is what's 7,000 minus 4,809? Do you know?
No, I don't.
It's the numbers that are there, and I was I was messing around with the idea of maybe doing some math and never quite got around to it. 4,809 is the amount of money that has been pledged now for World War II vet Mr. Rosengren. Where is he? Minnesota, I think, is where we said he was from. And they asked him, GVB and the Liberation Committee said, "Come to Guam, Liberator. Come to Guam, World War II Pacific Area veteran. We'd love to have you here for the 75th Liberation of Guam, and we'd like you to be our guest." Under the stage, because you have to pay your own way. But if you can get this far, dude, we got unlimited water and shade under the tree, and maybe we'll take you to Mescla or Mosa or someplace like that. But if you could come up with the scratch, we'll host you when you get here. The family figured it cost $7,000. To date, they have only earned or raised on the GoFundMe $4,809. Find me on Facebook, not on the Point Facebook, my regular Facebook page. And see if there ought to be a share. I reshared it this morning. Let's close the gap. This guy is so close. $7,000. He's at $4,809. So what is that? $2,200 away from the goal. Let's see what we can do in the next couple of days. Radio station is KUSG. Again, you stand by now for Fox News Live on 93.3 The Point.
Playing with fire, I'm Del Walters, Fox News. Trump administration reacting to Iran breaching the 2015 nuclear deal.
The Trump administration says maximum pressure will continue to be applied to Iran. A White House statement is calling on the Iranian regime to end its nuclear ambitions and its malign behavior. Iran announced it is increasing uranium enrichment beyond limits set in the 2015 nuclear deal. President Trump withdrew the U.S. from that pact that was agreed to by Iran and European and UN partners. Since then, tensions between the U.S. and Iran have grown. Last month, Iran shot down an unmanned U.S. drone. President Trump says he was within minutes of ordering airstrikes in response. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
President Trump addressing the issue from the White House.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're playing with. And I think they're playing with fire. So no message to Iran whatsoever.
The president also talking about his historic visit to North Korea, which North Korea is celebrating.
North Korean state TV calling President Trump's meeting with leader Kim Jong-un an amazing event. A newsreader saying the leaders exchanged historic handshakes in a place known as a symbol of division, the village of Panmunjom on the North Korea-South Korea border. When the president stepped onto North Korean territory yesterday, he became the first sitting US leader to do so. Talks over nuclear weapons are now expected to resume this month. Simon Owen, Fox News.
Fox's Tucker Carlson will have an exclusive interview with the president tonight at 8 Eastern Time. That interview will air on the Fox News channel. The Border Patrol head calling it completely inappropriate. Sexist Facebook comments by current and former employees, some of them mocking migrant deaths. ProPublica says the group is comprised of about 9,500 current and former employees. This is Fox News.
Discover a new galaxy. GTA introduces the new Samsung Galaxy S10 in 3 different sizes. The Galaxy S10 comes with cool new features like Power Share that allows you the ability to share your battery power with other devices. Or you can capture a wider world with its new camera featuring an ultra-wide lens for when you need to take pictures of the whole family. And with GTA handset payment option, you can take home a Galaxy S10 for $0 down. GTA, we start with you.
Your home is one of the most important investments you'll make in your life. At Nanbo Insurance, you can rest easy knowing that you're covered with reliable and affordable homeowners insurance. Nanbo makes it easy to protect what matters the most so you can enjoy the moments that matter the most. With Nanbo, you can also save big when you bundle up and insure your car, home, motorcycle, or business. Enjoy great savings up to 50%. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for more details.
Opinion.
Closing arguments in the case of a Navy SEAL accused of war crimes.
SEAL Chief Edward Gallagher has pleaded not guilty to charges he killed the wounded prisoner. Prosecutors began their final argument first, saying Gallagher's own text messages incriminate him. They add that a fellow SEAL who confessed during testimony was trying to protect him. The defense maintains the markings of a murder in this case, a body, and forensic evidence are not there. 7 Marines and sailors form the military jury who will deliberate on Gallagher's fate. Gallagher faces life, but 5 of the 7 jurors must agree on a conviction. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Hong Kong's leaders condemning violent protesters who broke into the city's legislature, vandalized the building. The chief executive, Carrie Lam, saying she hopes the city will agree it's right to condemn the protests. The protesters want Lam to resign. Democratic Congressman Joaquin Castro upset with an immigration center in Clint, Texas. Lawmakers said people are being held in unsanitary conditions.
One of the women said that she was told by an agent to drink water out of the toilet.
Court documents reveal some kids don't have clean clothes, bottles, or even a bed to sleep on. Joaquin's brother, Julian, is running for president. Smile.
Smile. The idea that smiling will make you happier and frowning can make you mad is known as the facial feedback hypothesis, and a new study says it might not be true. Researchers reviewed 50 years of data that included 300 experiments and found that smiling only boosts happiness a tiny bit. The results published in Psychological Bulletin also found that if 100 people were forced to smile, only 7 of them might be in a better mood. So the next time someone tells you to smile, go ahead and scowl. It probably won't make a difference. Jane Fergus, Fox News.
And that's nothing to laugh at. I'm Del Walters. This is Fox News.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA 8A and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
It's my turn again? I'm supposed to talk now? All of them? Okay, right. I know what I'm doing here. A broadcast professional, ladies and gentlemen, portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by Ruby Tuesdays. Now, today is Tuesday, so you'd think there would be something special going on there, and you would be correct in that assumption. Today is the Ruby Tuesdays 2-for-1, and the way it works, you can do this all day. 2 endless garden bars. So if you're like super heavy in salad these days, right on. And then we've got 2 entrees. They don't have to be the same one. So I can get the ribs and you can get the whatever the chickeny one is, or I forget what they are, but I mean they've got them, right? And then you share the dessert. $25.99. That's it. 2 people going to eat for $25.99 at Ruby Tuesdays. They're 2-for-1 Tuesday. Again, available all day, every day for a limited time at Ruby Tuesdays in Tamuning. Also brought to you by American President Lines. APL has got something brand new. They got a new logo phrase here. global presence with a local home. I like the way they put that together. And Micronesian Renewable Energy, never been a better time to go solar because MRE has got batteries that they can put with your systems. And don't forget, it's the summer of Jeep. Where? Well, who sells Jeeps? Cars Plus up in Mighty, right up there. And check out the Grand Cherokees, the regular Cherokees, and the Compass Sport 4x4, or get your hands on the wheel of the ultimate Sport 4x4. That is the Jeep Wrangler. Got one in your favorite color waiting for you at Cars Plus.
Bringing you closer to the action. Any speaker, anytime. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
Did I get that story? Did I do the link on this? There. Wait. He goes. I'm looking for something in particular here, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to string it up on the web. Let me see if that will. Arg. No, I should have done this while the news was playing, but I'm stupid, so I didn't. It is. You're supposed to disagree. You're supposed to disagree with that. Copy link in new tab. No. Copy link, save link. Copy link address. That's what I need to do. Then I go over here, and then I Control V to paste the link address, and then I can get the thing up and play it online. I'm trying to figure out how much of a description I got to give here, but basically, it's Dad taking the kids to the beach, and he's got a drone.
It's summertime. Dan and Sally Watson telling me they get their 3 kids, Landon, John, and Grace, in the water often, whether it's their pool or the beach.
I can pan my camera down, and it allows me to get that overhead shot.
Dad sometimes breaking out his drone to take pictures of the kids. Well, it's this drone that helped the family spot danger lurking in the water at New Smyrna Beach last week.
Kids were playing in the beach, and I just decided, hey, now's a good time. I'll see if I can get a picture of them overhead. Literally, as soon as I got it into the air, I started seeing a shadow moving through the water right towards them.
Dan snapping this picture of a shark swimming near his kids while running to his wife, asking her to get them out of the water.
I was at the edge of the water, and the kids were standing in the water, and I was like, get out, get out, get out. I didn't know why, and so he immediately brings the drone to me, and he shows me the frame in the drone, and you see that shark swimming right at our kids. It was terrifying.
This is the picture captured afterward. The kids running out while the shark starts swimming in the opposite direction. Big sister Grace telling me about this very moment.
I was like ripping them out of the water and trying to get them out of the water when my mom was telling us to get out. The shark was scary, and then the mom told us to get out of the water.
Sally telling me now she's going to be extra careful in these waters.
I don't know. I thought it was an interesting story. I wonder about that. But two things that cross my mind as I'm watching the video I just played is the water there is dirty. Did you see that?
It's murky, yeah.
Or maybe the kids were dirty and it made the water dirty. I don't know. One of two things was going on there. But I thought that was an interesting picture. But I wonder how often that happens. I wonder how often it will be that sharks, and I don't know. I don't know enough about sharks to be able to say that was, one of the big great whites, or it was, was a real threat to the kids. As I said, I was in the water the other day, not too far away from the Blue Hole, watching these fish that were playing around in front of me, and I couldn't have been any more than about 25 feet away. Here comes this black-tipped shark, just like, welcome to the hood, Ray. Good to have you around here. As I know, based on what I know about sharks, that's not one of them that's going to come and eat me, I don't think. And didn't look like it was going to be a threat to me. And in fact, here comes another diver with his GoPro camera, starts chasing the shark. So I figured that must have been one of the good guys that were out there. And I can't remember when the last time anybody around here was attacked by a shark. So, something to think about. But like I said, I wonder how often it is that you see sharks in that proximity to actual human beings in the water. 888-825-5888-TALK is my telephone number if you want to jump in on that conversation. Is that Marquez back? Same
Yeah,
guy?
he wants to talk about the water.
He wants to talk the dirty water where the kids were playing in, or the water the PFAS water. Marquez, you still there, buddy?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, turn the radio. I can hear a little bit of the radio in the background. So do me a favor, turn your radio all the way down.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, on a serious note, with the waters on Guam by the treatment plastics, one in Agate, and the Namu Bay, both the federal government, the U.S. Navy, and Guam Water Works has historically in the past leaked a lot of raw sewage in that bay. And with all this antibacterial soap and other soaps and waste, they've created a superbug situation, which now we have MRSA. And unfortunately, I contracted MRSA about a month ago. I was diving, free diving, past the reef, and then on my way up, I slipped a little bit. I was getting up on the steps in on the bay, and it scraped the coral a little bit on my leg, and it turned into a full-blown thing.
Is that the flesh-eating bacteria?
Yeah, cellulitis, right? Yeah, but thank God for people like Thomas Larkins at Larkins Family Practice. He has a cold laser type surgery. The GRMC hospital has been very proactive and treated me with intravenous IV antibiotics, the vancomycin, and some other high-grade antibacterial antibiotics. And then Omni Health has, especially for the veterans, Omni Health is getting ready to use their hyperbaric pressure with oxygen. 100% oxygen is good for different types of treatments. But Dr. Acuna is wanting to do some research in the area of PTSD treatment and the hyperbaric chamber. It's naturopathic, even though she's an MD, but she also kind of does DO type work, alternative osteopathic.
Wait, for PTSD, Marquez?
Yeah, post-traumatic stress disorder, correct. Yeah.
I'd never heard of something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things people don't know about naturopathic medicine, including CBDs from the cannabis plant. The cannaba that's actually a Hebrew word, cannaba, the root word of cannabis. And besides the THC, which everybody likes because it makes you high, you need the CBDs and the CBDA and the CBDG. My sons, who are pretty good in chemistry, my son at the University of San Francisco.
You're breaking up a little bit, but I get the idea. CBDs I know a few people that swear by CBDs. I'm lucky for a couple of places where I need to put some kind of a lotion or some kind of liniment. I've got one that's half CBD and half THC, and that one there I find brings me the most relief.
More holistic.
Yeah, which is odd because I'm not one of those holistic guys. I just generally don't like taking any medications at all.
It's CBD is anti-epileptic, anti-anxiety, anti-inflammatory. There's a lot of things that people didn't know about it because they didn't research it, but it's anti-epileptic. There's a lot of good. And then that's just one terpentine of many terpentines that are in the cannabis planet.
Yeah. Well, we'll spend a little bit more time one of these days talking about how great it is. I think most of the community is kind of sided with the recreational forms of marijuana, medicinal use of marijuana, and the more we have ready access to it, easier access to it, the more we'll learn about the therapeutic values that a lot of people have managed to forget about.
And if our government, when they do the recreational and all that, if they triple the taxes on alcohol, they would make up for the revenue that they want to try to get out of recreational marijuana. And they would watch and see, like Colorado and California and Washington, that alcohol-related deaths would go down, alcohol-related family violence would go down, a lot of alcohol-related stuff that is bad for you. We, for some reason, don't mind about that, and then we want to stop cannabis.
Yeah. Well, as far as yeah, I hear what you're saying, but as far as increased taxes are concerned, my preference is for people to have their hands outside of my pocket, not inside of my pocket. I try to be a responsible drinker. I recognize that there are a lot of irresponsible drinkers out there, and I don't know that it is a question of taxing the alcohol any higher, but inhibiting the access to the alcohol, especially for people that can't handle it. Hey, I gotta run. I got a couple other videos I'm gonna play. I'll talk with you soon.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Esther, you have a fantastic day. 888-8255-888-TALK is the telephone number around here. MRSA, remind me to look that up. The words flesh-eating bacteria, it scare me. As you might, rabid pit bull. Also, there's right there along the same, Governor Rory Respicio. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's a joke, Rory. But, just scary. I told you have to listen fast. Somebody's going to say, what did he say? What did the guy just say on the radio? What? It's a joke. Anyway, scary words. Never, nothing scarier than that in my mind. 9:18 in the morning. Is the time in the studio. As I said, I think we got Mary Rhodes going to be coming in talking about what goes on and ideas that they may have. She was advocating over at the legislature last week for a return to tip credits. I've gotten word from another somebody, actually also in the F&B business, that says and thinking in terms of the employees, thinking that is not the right way to do it. I mean, there ought to be a minimum wage for, he believes, for everybody. I mean, if you got somebody working in the business, everybody ought to be earning at least a minimum wage there, and not shorting somebody up by saying, okay, well, I'll pay you this amount, but you can make up the rest of it in tips. I guess the idea is, we incentivize the service, and everybody'd have access to good customers, and they'd be tipping them, so you would get more than what you would normally be getting if it was just the minimum wage. On the other hand, there's still going to be tips. They're still going to get tips. So give them the minimum wage and let them keep the tips. There will still be that incentive to perform to your basic, most minimum levels. So we'll talk about that, how many businesses might be involved, and maybe there ought to be some kind of a survey to pin on all of that before too much longer. 9:19 in the morning, 888-255-888-TALK. I promised I'd mention this. I looked earlier this morning, and over the last couple of days, I don't want to say this is my quest or it is my mission. I think it's embarrassing that we have invited a World War II liberator. I don't know that he was on the invading ships. I think he came here right after. But he's got time here on Guam either in the invasion or post-invasion of the island, and steps were taken to invite him to Guam, and he accepted. He said, "Okay, just send me a ticket. I'll be ready to go. Pack my bags." And they said, "No. You have to pay your way if you want to come out here." I'm going, "Oh my God! Oh, get out of here with that." There aren't that many. How many did we invite? In past, did we not pay their way? Did we not accommodate them one way or the other? And I don't know the answer. I just think you got somebody who's in their 90s, 94 years old, and he gets them all excited and tickled about the idea that maybe he's going to go and hang out on Guam, see what's changed. He's got great grandkids here. My understanding, he's got kids. He's got family that lives here on Guam, and he's going, "Yeah, this would be great." And I said, "Okay, yeah, pay your way," and without any kind of notion as to how much it costs to get from there to here. I mean, think about how tough it is to get from here to anywhere else. How expensive it is to get from here to anywhere else. It ain't all that cheap in the other direction. So I'm going, get out of here with this. So the family did, the daughter, I guess, daughter or granddaughter says, "No, we'll get Dad to Guam." So there's a GoFundMe page. And if you find me on Facebook, you'll be able to get to that story. And when I looked at it this morning, he was at 4,809. They're asking for 7,000 in order to get him all the way to Guam. Now, I've never done a GoFundMe. I'm a believer in crowdsourcing, which is what they're doing here, looking to get a little bit of money from a lot of people as opposed to a lot of money from one or two people. So I'm crazy about that. But in my mind, I want to say if they don't get 7,000, if they don't get that amount, they don't get anything. So people have pledged already $4,809 of that $7,000 that they are looking for, which means that all they got to do is come up with $2,191 more dollars to get this guy here. Many of the listeners of the Ray Gibson Show on the Point, there are a bunch of names that I recognize on the donor list and a lot of anonymous. So I'm hoping that there's a lot of people, but I got my fingers crossed that there's a lot of people from here, including the names that you recognize, including people on the anonymous list that have pledged some money for this guy to come to Guam. It's going to be the 21st before you know it. The guy's he's going to need to pack. He's going to need to go see doctors or whatever, make sure he gets cleared for the travel. So it will take some time to get it done. But I'd really, and I'm not doing. I don't have an interview lined up. I don't know him. I haven't reached out to the family there or here. I haven't talked to anybody at the GVB about it. I just think it would be nice for everybody to try to get together and help this guy make his and maybe last wish. He's 94 years old. Can you imagine? This is the one last thing I got to look forward to, guys, before I punch out is go back to Guam. So find the GoFundMe page. And a World War II vet. If you do World War II vet. That's a long scroll. There's a lot of wishes that World War II vets all across the country have, one way or the other. But this guy wants to get to Guam. It's on my Facebook page, or if you follow me, you've seen me share it. So if you could take a look at it, if you got a few dollars, then go put it on this GoFundMe page. If you've already made your donation, do me a favor, share it again. Share the link again, and let's keep this going, if for no other reason, to get this guy out here, and the other one to send a message that it's just plain rude to invite people to a party and then tell them that they have to pay their own way. Come on, hey, thanks for the liberation thing. I appreciate that, everything that you've done for us in the past. 9:24, and enough time to play this, because I think when Mary comes in, it'll probably go long. The governor, Lulian Guerrero, has got an address, as in the governor's occasional address. It's a monthly. We used to do the governor's address every week, once upon a time, but it's only monthly now. Does that make you happy to hear? And so here's the deal. I'll play this for you on the radio, and this might be the only place on Guam where you will be able to comment on the governor's monthly address. Yeah, because I guarantee you they'll probably turn the comments off on this. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be playing it any place where you'd be allowed to make comment on what it is that the governor has got to say in this monthly address. This is my favorite thing about social media. So at 9:25, it's only going to take about 5 minutes to get the thing all from beginning to end. So here it is now, without any further delay, and I can hardly wait to see what you have got to say as the governor delivers the monthly address for July 2019. Click. Roll in. Fade.
Half a day. This month we celebrate the diamond anniversary of Guam's liberation from Imperial Japanese occupation by the United States forces. For nearly 3 years, beginning December 8, 1941, our people were unwilling participants and ultimately victims of a war between nations. It became the living horror of our mothers and fathers, our grandmothers and grandfathers, and their friends and neighbors. And while the wounds of war can heal, the memories of that time are entrenched in the emotional and physical scars of those who survive. But this time of the year is about more than tragedy and pain. It's a living memorial to the loved ones we lost, to our liberators who fought and died so that others may live, and to the remaining survivors who are still with us today. After U.S. troops claimed a bloody victory on Saipan, Japanese forces on Guam sensed their fall was inevitable. Consequently, their treatment of the Chamorro worsened. Countless stories of torture, rape, and executions now permeate our history. 1,170 Chamorros died during the Japanese occupation. 14,721 survived. 75 years later, only a fraction of those survivors are still with us. After the combined effort of every congressional delegate from Guam, every elected governor, and even a federal law signed by President Obama, the men and women whose courage and sacrifice were recognized by Congress are still waiting for closure 75 years later. This is why, as governor, I chose to take action after learning that more federal legislation is needed to release funding to award the claims. My administration has built a relationship with the federal government. We have secured millions of new dollars for the Guam Memorial Hospital through a federal rebasing of our Medicare and per diem rates. We ended the decade-long federal receivership of our solid waste system. We secured the largest federal match rate of Affordable Care Act funds in Guam's history. We successfully renegotiated the per diem rate for federal detainees, which also had not been done in over 20 years, and we secured millions in federal grants in record time. We recognize the hard work of other elected officials and the support of our people in making our lives better. I also believe that there is a level of trust our federal partners have placed in my administration. We are seeing a new wave of prominent congressional leaders heeding our call for action. A number of bills have been recently introduced that could bring millions in funding to the territories. One by 5 Democratic presidential candidates will bring Medicaid parity to Guam, and 2 measures to reimburse us for earned income tax credits. We are seeing a level of trust, attention, and partnership. We must sustain this relationship moving forward. With more of our uncle leaving us every day and this fortified relationship with the federal government, I knew we had to act on this rare opportunity that arose out of the Disaster Aid Bill. Funds that we were identifying to put up as a match can now be used to start paying survivors through a local program. Thanks to Speaker Munya Barnes, Minority Leader Will Castro, Senator Amanda Shelton, and federal partners beginning with the White House, along with the Departments of Treasury, Justice, and Interior, I am optimistic that we can make this program a reality. And to be clear, Congressman Mike Nicholas's legislation to release funding from Treasury is critical and necessary, and I am in full support of its passage. We are all sons and daughters of Guam. We can think beyond the recognition of success and realize that what we have in front of us is bigger than our individual selves. Let us come together and reach for the good that will happen with our joint efforts. Together we can bring closure to Guam's greatest generation. Si Diyos maasi, Viva Liberacion, God bless our uncle, God bless our war heroes and their families, and God bless Guam.
God bless us, everyone. Auntie Lou. Governor of Guam, there's the monthly address for July. That'll take us all the way through Liberation and beyond, and we'll see what happens with all the stuff that she was talking about. Just going through the litany of successes that they had dealing with the federal government and some things that they've done. I'm wondering how many of those got to start, though, and we're working with people from the last administration. Somebody will take a look at that and get back to me. Bottom of the hour, it's 9:30 in the morning. That's iConnect time. On me. So call them, 888-8888. Tell them Ray Gibson was on the radio talking about how you're going to spend less for your mobile and internet with iConnect, and they'll tell you how.
We know too well the inconvenience of not having power after a storm. You worry about food in the freezer going bad. Nights get hot. It's hard finding comfort when going to sleep. These are realities. But with solar and battery storage from Micronesia Renewable Energy, these realities can be a thing of the past. The solar works during the day and the batteries power your home at night. Call 632-2613 to see how solar plus battery storage can make life a little more convenient. MRE, the smarter choice.
Portions of the program are being brought to you by Wendy's, where they've got the Berry Burst chicken salad with fresh berries, feta, which is a kind of cheese, and grilled chicken. But you can have that with fried chicken. Made fresh every day at Wendy's. Save up to 50% with Nanbo Insurance's Bundle Up plan. Businesses, cars, motorcycles, all kinds of stuff that you'd like to get insured. Put them all in the same package. The guy will hit a button on the Excel spreadsheet that says bundle rate. You could save up to 50%. The number is 477-9754.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
Nobody wants to hear the next extra point. Nobody wants to be reminded of the pain. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on the Ray Gibson Show, we're going to talk about rejection. Oh, I'm not sure I'll be able to handle it myself.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts. Brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
Wonderful. 9:32. It is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. And where'd the girl? Check and see if the girl is there. I saw her come in. Mary Rhodes was here, and then I don't know what happened to her. She's supposed to come in while the records were playing, but unfortunately we don't play any actual records around here, so I don't know if that's going to happen. 888-8255 is the telephone number here on the radio station. If you've got some thoughts of your own, no problem. Otherwise, I can go ahead and carry the conversation all morning long. It's what I do. It's what I'm capable of doing, and stepping into the studio, and we'll hit the green chair in just a second. My very close, very dear personal friend, Mary Rhodes, who is the current executive director of the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I got it right this time. Yeah. How about that? Hooray! I did it. How was dinner the other night? Looked like the whole family got together to goof off at the grand opening of Ruby Tuesdays.
I know. You were there. You were so busy with
Chuck, I was over. Yeah, I was talking with Chuck, and talking about all the different food. We were talking about one of the things that, and I'm glad I saw you, because it reminded me that we should probably get around to talking about some of this stuff. But it reminded me that there's more hotel and restaurants now on Guam. So your membership is growing, and I know that for you that's a good thing. For a lot of entrepreneurs, it's a very good thing. But the concern is what happens with all these young people, right? That are getting jobs for the first. Are they going to be able to parlay their work experience, working for these hotels, working for these restaurants, into higher paying jobs, into managerial positions down the road? I know that that's important to you. We got to give these people a place to start, but then move them into higher paying roles in the companies as time goes by.
And we've always felt, GTRA has always felt that we've taken a strong stance on minimum wage, but for the last several years we have asked for that youth wage, but also for the tip credit, because then it allows the business to take in the impact of a wage increase, but spread it out so that if they have more flexibility in how they pay servers who are eligible for tips, but also other employees like housekeepers and the like, then there's room for taking in that impact for non-tipped employees like back at the house, kitchen staff, even managers.
Yeah.
And so those employees are not eligible for taking in tips.
Is that universal?
That's a federal law.
Yeah.
Right. So the Fair Labor Standards Act is the U.S. Department of Labor requirement on how we pay employees, and so there's a definition for what requires what are tipped employees.
Tip eligible.
Correct. And so you're really talking about even hairdressers, valet, housekeepers. So there are a lot of
You tip the valets?
Yes.
I'm kidding. I never have money to tip, so I always just park myself.
Right. Well, some hotels still have free valet service.
I don't know which ones those are.
PIC.
But also, really?
Yes.
They have, no, they do?
Yes.
PIC has free valet?
Still.
I had no idea.
Yes. I don't know how long, but they
how
still
much longer
do.
after this broadcast, right? But I had no idea. And so I always just end up parking the car myself because, like I said, I'm embarrassed most of the time. I don't actually have a couple extra dollars to hand to a guy.
Yeah, there are a lot of tipped positions, and so those employees don't make minimum wage. They make the wage, whatever they make as per hour, and any tip. But also, every employee usually participates in service charge. And so that allows for back at the house and even other hotels, hotel employees or restaurant employees who aren't tipped employees to participate in a service charge,
but the
which
service,
is shared.
Yeah, but the service charge, that is, as I understand, we had a conversation with somebody about this last week. So the service charge is on the company's side of the equation.
Correct, because it's considered gross income. They pay taxes on that.
Yes.
Cash tips or tips on credit card receipts. Tips are
separated
employee wages. I'm sorry, employees' money that they have to declare at the end of every shift so that they can declare their income. And so they're responsible for that tax. Whereas service charge, that's part of gross receipts, all the sales. And then generally hotels and restaurants, if they are charging a service charge, their general practice has been to share a portion of that, if not all. And a lot of that money goes towards training, uniforms breakage, which they can't go after employees for breakage. And lost items, things like that. So it's to help the F&B department or that restaurant really recover their losses, as well as help train and develop employees.
So I wish I knew, where I am and what they're doing with that service charge. Because oftentimes, I'll see the service charge 10%, and I was going to tip 15%, but since there's already 10% there, I'll only tip the 5%, and in some cases, the employee the server might not be getting their share of that 10%.
Correct. It's always best to ask.
Right.
It's nice to ask because then you're showing the server that they did a good job. You're recognizing them, but you also want to know. I know Senator
how much
Regine,
of this is going back to you.
Correct. Senator Regine Biscoli is looking at possibly putting out some kind of really a notice of where that goes, but we're asking her, to really not consider that because it's really part of the company's income and it's at their discretion, and that is federal law. All we're asking for the legislature to consider is to allow tips and gratuities, and we had several people at the legislature last Friday who really helped define that, like former Wage and Hour Division Administrator Roman Kanata, who was with DOL, and then even Joe Bradley had commented that he felt that there are a lot of things that he comes to the table with and he provides advice on, but that was one thing he agreed with GHRA and even Chamber
was to restore the tip credit, because the current law is minimum wage applies to everyone. There is no longer a tip credit.
Correct. Well, it's by definition. So when we changed the law, the definition reads wages are $8.25 an hour. Before, it would say wages with tips and gratuities. So tips and gratuities would mean tips and service charge, right? So we want to make sure that that's understood, and that's what we're asking for, is to make it mirror the federal language on different definition of wages. So it's not changing the current bill so much, it's just amending it to change the definition of wage to include tips and gratuities.
Yeah. In other conversations wouldn't even need to be necessary because there are federal laws that apply already in this case.
Correct.
Yeah. So they're just adding the additional fix. What you're looking at is the removal of that additional fix and just go back to whatever it is that the Fed has to say about it.
Right.
That's not that can become somewhat polarizing. There are people on either side of that issue.
Well, actually,
in
you're
your
not
game,
taking anything away from the employee because they're still going to have to make minimum wage or more. Some of them get paid $10 an hour plus tips.
Plus.
So regardless, the employer has to make up that difference, whatever wage they agreed on upon hiring or whatever wage that employee is at after years of service.
They still have to make at least a minimum wage.
Right. So in my testimony, I provided the language that's in the Fair Labor Standards Act, and it explains that should an employee fall below that threshold of what their wage should be at the end of every payroll period, it is either made up through tips, gratuities, or the employer has to make up the difference.
Yep.
If they made zero, in tips. So regardless, the employee is never out anything. And there is a lot of confusion, which is why the director of DOL, Dave De La Sola, sent out a press release a couple weeks ago, was to clarify with businesses that right now, as of today, it is illegal to not pay an employee their full wage, because that is true. They're supposed to get paid their wage plus tips and gratuities.
Gotcha. You mentioned at the beginning of this, and it's something that's always intrigued me. There were all these people years ago when we were talking about minimum wage increases, and it's one of my favorite fights of all time, because you really get into the nitty gritty and the research and the numbers that come out of this and figure out an increase of this size is going to net this result. We still haven't fixed poverty, no matter how much we meddle with the minimum wage. But as I said, it's one of my favorite fights, and one of the things that people always say is, well, you got to look at Australia. You got the minimum wage is $20 an hour or something like that. Why come we don't have that here? Well, the fact is, in Australia and other places, they have two minimum wages. There is the grown-up minimum wage, and there is a youth minimum wage.
Correct.
And I'm interested to hear more about a youth wage on Guam. Are there places in America that have in other places in America where they have they bifurcated it?
Yes, that's correct. And even in some markets, the wage only increases based on even employer size. So you have to be over 25 employees to pay that much more. So there are so many variations of it, and there is such a thing as a youth wage. And so usually it's a percentage of the minimum wage in your market. So what we put in our testimony and what Chamber put is today's current wage, because it's going to be hard to explain that people are making less than today's minimum wage, right?
Right. So leave that there for people that are
$8.25.
For what's the age range that you're talking about?
We put
16?
14.
Oh, really? Is there as young as 14?
Yeah,
okay.
you can be 14 to 17. So, my kids, Kieran and Gabby both worked at age 14. You do have to go to Department of Labor and get a minor certificate and an employer to agree. There just are certain jobs they can't have, like in a kitchen with sharp objects and things that put them in
some
harm's
kind
way.
of mortal danger.
Right. So, but they can do retail. Like Gabby was a clubmate at PIC, and Kieran worked at DNA for 4 years. So there are jobs out there for the youth, and we want to encourage them to get jobs. But, you said something very important in the beginning, which is really, what is that career ladder for them? A lot of our kids don't go on to post-secondary school, whether it's GCC or UOG or off-island. And so we need to encourage the youth to start working early, but also build those work skills that they can
come
be
to work on time
promotable.
every day and get along with everybody in the office and listen to what the boss says. There's no arguing with the teacher, and all of the things that we hope that they learn, so that as they develop the experience, they work themselves into being better employees, and their wages should increase, and their tips should increase, and all of that kind of thing. The other philosophy that I had is you don't want to pay a 14 or 15 or a 16-year-old too much money. They become enamored with what they've got in them, and think that's all I need. That'll get me the tires for the new truck that I like, and make my chick happy because I got tuck and roll on the dashboard. All of these things that guys are going to say, this is it, man. I'm at the pinnacle.
I've seen pictures of you with your old car, so I understand why you're going there.
Exactly.
But we have multi-family generations living in the same homes. So, yes, they work for, a lot of times, their cars and their phones. But a lot of times, I see a lot of,
I want to kick them up. I want
today.
you in my office. That's what I want these kids to be able to learn is I need you to develop some skills and maybe go and take a class at GCC or a class at the University of Guam, so that one of these days you can sit in my chair. But
that's always
you ain't going to get there if all you want to do is buy new rims and a new phone.
Well, we need to look at it holistically, though. That it's not just about wage, and it's not about a living wage. It's about a minimum wage where people start, right? And so workforce development has to be part of that. And that was in my testimony too, is we're doing a lot with Guam Department of Labor. They've done a tremendous job over the last couple of years getting more apprenticeship money, as well as a new program called pre-apprenticeship. And this is really designed for the either new disenfranchised, previously, incarcerated, displaced employees, or even just the unemployed, or regular employees who are incumbent employees that have never had an opportunity for training or certifications, but they don't want to go to school.
Yeah.
So it's a brand new program. It's called Pre-Apprenticeship. Guam Trades Academy started it 2 months ago, and we are going to be having our first cohort in August. And these are for jobs that we're hoping will create jobs within the industry, like in digital marketing, even just
There's
having
going to
something
be
as
a significant amount of money getting spent in digital marketing.
yeah, but a lot of people, especially with millennials, they understand the tools, they understand the platforms, they understand the language, but they don't have the real education or the certifications to say, hey, I'm really an expert at this.
Yes.
And so although the schools do teach that within UOG and GCC, we are really looking at short-term programs that they don't have to go to post-secondary. They could just go to a short-term program, get their certificate like Trades Academy. And so we're looking at many, many programs that will serve that. And that's something we're also working on new programs with the American Hotel Lodging Association and National Restaurant Association, looking at servers, even restaurant manager. And so we're working with one of our board members, Darren Talai, in creating this program. And so we're very excited to be rolling this out soon. We've already identified the different jobs that we have and given that to DOL. So
we can
more should come.
The kids can the kids. I mean, I'm thinking in terms of kids, but these employees then have an opportunity to learn and continue to work.
Yes, they're working.
That's the thing. I'm working every day, and then I'm going to be taking the course. It's not going to be.
This is only 4 hours a week.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about a great drain on their time and something at the end of it. They've got certification, and guys, the reason why you want a certification is because it's portable. You can take it anywhere you go, and now that you've got it, you're that much more valuable to the company that you work for.
Yes, and then this is a step into possibly maybe a supervisor position at some point, or if they want to go into apprenticeship, which is a longer based program that does require, go to school like part-time at least. So
or become competition for the shop that you're in. I mean, there's no reason why you could not take the experience and the learning that you've got and become an entrepreneur in your own right.
Right. And ultimately, our goal is not just for the workforce development, but to increase the level of standards and quality in the industry. And in order for us to do that, we need to kind of get back to the basics of re-educating our current employees on the standards of service.
Well, you talk to anybody around here, and everybody's got their server horror story out there. But I'm more of the opinion that has gotten better. There, a lot of the places where I go to on a regular basis, I go there because I can count on good service, quality food, and decent prices.
Right.
And it was never like that. Back in the old days, it was pick any two. You're either going to get good service or good prices or good food, but never all three at the same time. And I'm seeing that changing here these days.
Well, there's always going to be an issue with overall service, I think, because Guam cannot compete with Southeast Asia in the fact that they have a higher employed room ratio. So what that means is, like in Thailand or in Bali, you'll get 7 employees
per
who are
one
providing a service to that one room or that one guest. And on Guam, our ratio is 1.5. And so it's very difficult to compete because it's just not apples to apples. So what we'd rather do is take that 1.5 employee
starts at wages,
make them better quality, right? And so that's really the strategy that we have with this workforce development plan.
Maybe you get somebody from DOL in to talk about that a little bit more. I wanted to ask you some other questions about just generally what's happening in the food industry here. Like I said the other day, we were over at Red Lobster, and there's an Olive Garden in the building. And Joe and I were talking about all these places that have opened up in the last year. I have never been in. I just haven't been in them yet. There just seems to be so many. When somebody says, where do you want to eat? I almost, paralysis by analysis. I don't know. Let's pick someplace. What's good?
Well, it's exciting because you're starting to see, like you said, a lot of entrepreneurs. Like I'm very interested in going to like Asiga, for example, that's doing plant-based products.
Yes.
Those are exciting, to see being brought here to the
Yeah, see, friends of mine mentioned that. I had no idea. Where is that? What's that?
Yeah, we have yet to go as GHRA to go and try to, try it out. And also, but we know we've heard great things about them. And same like Coffee Slut, they're now a member of GHRA. And, they really came out and they're at a lot of events. And they joined us for some of our evening events. And it's exciting to see what they're doing even now with packaged goods.
Would you see what they're doing with Foremost?
Yes.
Where you can now get the coffee that you can get at Coffee Slut, and you can get it in a bottle, and it's cold brewed, and
correct.
That's their new thing. I mean, what a great opportunity for a collaboration that you figure big company and little company, and the two of them got together, and we now have rolled out a new kind of product.
Right.
What are your thoughts on food trucks? I mean, do you ever go to the food truck Tuesday, Thursday thing again? And
oh yeah.
Are they members? Are they potential members?
A lot of them have joined because we did try for 6 months the Friday night market at Aconta Mall, and so we did have a good handful of regulars, about, I want to say almost 10 different food trucks. And I think that's really exciting. It started to become the trend several years ago. And that's why we want to try our hand in it. Cause obviously retail space down in Tumon is very difficult to get. But to have a regular space was very important for us to try, especially when we moved there.
Well, what bothered me was when because a lot of these guys got their start on the pad that used to be the administration building over at in Agano. Yeah, and then they got chased away from that, and now nobody is using the facility for anything. But it was a great venue, I thought, for the food trucks to go out there and park. They got a pretty good thing going on in the middle of the week over by the museum, in the backyard of the museum. But even that begins to look like it's starting to crowd up anymore. Yeah. So there seems to be, it's blossoming. There's competition. Everybody's got an idea of an entree or an appetizer or a dessert that they can sell there.
Well, it's an easy way to break into the market, and a great example of that is Moses. Moses, Sarah, and they started out, Monique and Sarah, just as a food truck. And yes, Sarah's had her hand at a lot of different things, and she's had a great background in it. But it just shows continued perseverance and finding the right product that you're going to have that's going to be very successful as a restaurant.
But I think the product at Mosa's is not, a burger or a Greek salad. I think the product at Mosa is the service.
Overall,
I think they've done an outstanding job with the service, because the menu, I mean, they've got a menu, but I don't know anybody that goes in there and looks at the menu. Everybody looks at the blackboard, right?
Yep, I eat the day. I was just there yesterday, and I tried their parrotfish, the wrap, and it was so good. And so those are prime examples of how. As long as that's the plan, ultimately, right? If some people just want to stay food truck, that's great, and they go to the different venues, because now it's more than just Hagatnya; it's in other villages too.
Well, it's a truck. You park it anywhere at any time you want to, and say, all right, this intersection gets hot at this time, so I'm going to go hang out here and see what's going on. It's such, and I like it because it seems to be kind of a diversion away from the regular tent business that is only once or twice. You got Wednesday night market or Thursday thing out in Manila, and you might only see these vendors there at this deal, but all of a sudden we make it so that those tents now are transportable and put them in a van. Is there any special licensing or food and public health paperwork that needs to get filled out?
Yes, there's a peddler's license, but there are even some fire department requirements because of the open flame, and a lot of them carry gas tanks. So there is a special form with fire department and also with public health. But what's nice is if you're organizing an event, they work with you and they come in, they do site visits. And I know public health also does regular inspections. And so they will go out to each of those types of events and inspect.
I got to imagine that the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association sat on the same side of the table with Tom Nadeau at the public hearing a couple of weeks ago on making it so that just regular people can start cooking food for sale and consumption in their own kitchens.
We weren't there.
You weren't there?
No. That's not something, we've had food events where I know, like, even where Guam Visitors Bureau, they've had, like, the best Calaguin concept, right, or the competition. And it's very hard to understand that, especially when there's no way for a visitor to have access to that. But we've kind of gone back and forth with it. We've tried different things at different food events. We've had, like, Taste Guam in the past, or even at our Pacific Hotel Restaurant Expo. We really are very industry specific and focused whenever we do go to the legislature. And that's one thing I think GHRA has been very good about, is when we advocate on issues, it's really one that affects everybody.
Everybody, as opposed to, some smaller.
Right.
Some smaller side interests.
Otherwise, I'd be there almost every other day.
That's that's a fact. So, 9:55 in the morning. Ray and Mary, I didn't realize that I didn't have you in the camera so well.
I was wondering if there's a stool.
There's a thing here that you can put on the side.
I'm just really short.
God, I love you. 9:56 in the morning. Quick break, right? All right. Let me just assemble a quick break, and then we'll finish up the hour with Mary Rhodes from GHRA next.
Get a half gallon of Minute Maid orange juice for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a half gallon of Dairy Gold milk for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy. Get a $7 meal for only $1.99 when you fuel up on $35 or more of premium high-performance fuel. Conditions apply. See stores for details. Circle K. Take it easy.
Business travel just got easier. Take your data plan with you for only $10 a day to all 17 Data-to-Go destinations. Never worry about additional data roaming charges when you go where your business needs you. The US, China, Thailand, and so much more. Have the assurance you need to check emails, surf the web, and stay connected. Call 688-2677 today to make sure your account is Data-to-Go ready. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
888-255. What have I got? A couple of minutes away from 10 o'clock in the morning, and talking about the minimum wage conversation that took place last Friday over at the legislature. And yeah, it's nobody's pinned on any big what's the word I'm looking for, debates, because there's no point in throwing facts at anybody over there. They're going to vote on it one way, to support that measure anyway. So you might as well go in and try to figure out how we might be able to get something for the different industries that are going to be affected, including possibilities of youth wages and things like that. Just enough time. Just 2 minutes here. What do we got to look forward in the hotel side of it? We got the Tsubaki that's going up, and it looks like they're getting ready to start taking things down and start painting, right?
Yes, they're going to be open next year, so that means more jobs in the market, and perfect timing for us to roll out our workforce development plan, where we're going to be doing in-house training. So that's what's going to be very different for GHRA, is in addition to working with Guam Community College, we're going to be opening up programs and working with Trades Academy as they build their new school next year. And we're also working with Department of Labor of teaching in-house. So GHRA has always kind of had a model where we take our in-house trainers or our HR people or even ourselves, and we teach like the pesticides training, the
Serve Safe, et cetera. Yep.
Right, exactly, responsible alcohol. So we're taking that step further, and we're going to be teaching a lot of the programs in-house, but still working with GCC when students want to go to GCC.
So
or
many
Trades
great
Academy.
opportunities coming out of those different places for young people in the culinary arts and management, and that didn't exist before. What comes after Tsubaki? Is there anybody got a line on some property?
I do know that through GITA that two companies came in and they purchased land up by what is the...
So maybe going to be another hotel property is going to be going up?
Not Star Sand, but the one...
way up there.
Right underneath to Lover's Point. No.
Oh, I know where you're talking about. Really? Land down there?
Yes. So that was purchased, and that was through a group that possibly...
You think maybe somebody's going to do something with Gotnya finally? Gun Beach? Yeah, because that property's changed hands so many times with the idea of putting a mega resort down there.
Well, remember, that was given through the Land Use Commission through a special program to have the cultural show.
Right.
So,
but I'm talking about the other side. The other side, the non-Israel property.
Leased.
Yeah. No, anyway, wow. Wish we had more time as usual. Run out of time when I talk to you. We'll be doing this again soon. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. This is KUSG Haganya, headquarters for Fox News Live.
Trump telling reporters Iran is playing with fire when it comes to claims it has enriched low-grade uranium.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're playing with, and I think they're playing with fire. So no message to Iran whatsoever.
Iran's claims would violate the 2015 nuclear deal that the Trump administration pulled out of. This is the president's signature issue is showing signs of strain. The American economy may be doing well, but not everyone thinks the president should get the credit.
This month, the U.S. economy is on track to grow